The ancients whispered a truth into the wind, a secret carried through centuries, carved onto the walls of temples and the inner chambers of the heart. They said that what you think, you become. But this statement is not a simple command. It is a key to a door that most have forgotten exists. It speaks not of fleeting wishes or desperate hopes, but of a deep, sustained, internal state of being. The same universal law that hangs the stars in the void and spins the galaxies into existence is the law that builds empires of fortune from a single, silent thought. The universe, in its infinite power, does not distinguish between the creation of a sun and the creation of a life of abundance. The process is one and the same. It begins with a blueprint drawn not on paper, but in the subtle energy of consciousness itself. This journey we are about to embark upon is not a race towards a finish line of dollars and cents. It is an excavation, a quiet, deliberate peeling back of layers to reveal the architect that has always resided within you. We have been taught to look outward, to chase, to strive, to earn our worth in the noisy marketplace of the world. We have been told that wealth is a fortress to be conquered, a mountain to be climbed. But this is a profound misunderstanding. Wealth is not a destination. It is an emanation. It is the natural fragrance of a mind that has come into alignment with the creative principles of reality. We will not speak of stocks, or of markets, or of business strategies in the way the world understands them. We will speak of the source from which all those things arise. We will explore the internal architecture, the silent habits of mind, the vibrational frequencies that make abundance an inevitability, not a possibility. To think like a true creator, a so-called billionaire of reality, is not to obsess over money. It is to achieve a state of inner coherence, a profound stillness, where the vision of what you desire is held so clearly, so consistently, that it has no choice but to manifest in the world of form. This is the real work. It is the art of becoming a vibrational match for the life you wish to lead. So let go of what you think you know about building wealth. Quiet your mind from the clamor of the world. We are about to enter the workshop of consciousness itself. Let us begin. Let us begin in the most fundamental territory, the only place where true creation is possible, the landscape of the mind. You have been told that you are what you think, that your thoughts shape your destiny. This is true, but it is not the complete truth. It is a map that is missing the most vital landmark of all, your own presence. Let us propose a more profound and empowering reality. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who is aware of the thinking. You are the silent, spacious consciousness in which thoughts appear and disappear like clouds in the sky. This is the single most important shift you can ever make. It is the move from being a character tossed about in the drama of the mind to becoming the silent architect of your inner world. This is the first and most crucial mental habit of those who create reality on a grand scale. They understand that before you can build an empire, you must first become the ruler of the inner kingdom of your mind. For most people, the mind is a chaotic and reactive place. Thoughts are not consciously chosen, they are inherited. They are the recycled anxieties of the collective, the echoes of past pains, the fearful whispers of a culture built on scarcity and comparison. These thoughts drift into your awareness like static from a poorly tuned radio, and because you have been taught that this radio is you, you adopt the static as your identity. The thought, "I am not enough," arises, and you claim it. The thought, "What if I fail?" appears, and you believe it. The thought, "There isn't enough to go around," echoes from the world, and you accept it as law. This is not thinking. This is passive reception. It is allowing the weeds of the world to take root in your own sacred ground. The first act of mastery, the first step of the silent architect, is to cease this automatic identification. It is to take a step back and simply observe the stream of thought without judgment, to watch it flow by as if you were sitting on a riverbank, noticing the leaves and twigs that drift past. They are not you, they are just debris on the current. In this simple act of detached observation, you reclaim your power. You cease to be the storm, and you become the calm, clear sky that holds the storm. This is where the real work, the real art of creation, begins. Imagine the soil of your consciousness. It is infinitely fertile, potent, capable of growing any seed you plant within it. By its very nature, it is neutral. It will grow thorns as readily as it will grow roses. It does not judge the seed, it simply provides the conditions for its growth. The weeds are the thoughts of fear, doubt, worry, and lack. They require no effort to grow. They are hardy, persistent, and their seeds are carried on every wind of the daily news, every casual complaint, every fearful conversation. If you do not consciously tend to your garden, these weeds will become the default vegetation. They will choke out the light and consume the nutrients, leaving your inner landscape barren and overgrown. This is the state of the unconscious mind, a garden left to chance, and its harvest will always be a reflection of that chaos. It will yield a life of struggle, of reaction, of feeling like a victim to circumstance. Now, consider the seeds of abundance. These are the thoughts of possibility, of worthiness, of gratitude, of creativity, of love. These are the seeds of the life you dream of. Unlike the weeds, these seeds must be planted with intention. They must be chosen deliberately. The master gardener, the silent architect of the mind, understands this. He does not spend his days waging a violent war against the weeds. To fight a weed is to give it your energy, to focus on it, to water it with your attention. To curse the darkness is to be consumed by it. No, the master gardener has a different strategy, one that is infinitely more powerful and graceful. He turns his full attention to the seeds he wishes to cultivate. He chooses a thought, a single, powerful seed. A thought like, "I am a conduit for universal creativity," or "Value flows to me and through me in abundant measure." He finds a clear space in the soil of his mind, and he plants this seed with care. This planting is not a fleeting act. He does not simply throw the seed on the ground and hope for the best. He nurtures it. He waters it daily with his focused attention. When he wakes in the morning, his first thought is of this seed. Before he sleeps, he feels the reality of its blossoming. He protects the tender sprout from the shadows of old, habitual thinking. When a weed of doubt appears nearby, he does not panic. He does not pour his energy into ripping it out in a rage. He simply acknowledges it. Ah, there is doubt again. And then gently, deliberately, returns his focus to the rose he is growing. He gives his chosen seed the sunlight of his belief. He feels the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the joy of the flower already in bloom. This sustained, loving attention is the most potent fertilizer in the universe. The weeds, starved of the light of his focus, begin to wither. The rose, nourished by his presence, begins to grow strong, its roots digging deep into his subconscious mind, its stem reaching confidently for the heavens. This is the true mindset of the billionaire, stripped of all its worldly glamour. It is the mindset of the master gardener. Their mind is not a chaotic battlefield of conflicting thoughts. It is a meticulously curated landscape of possibility. The outer wealth, the companies, the innovations, the vast fortunes are merely the harvest. They are the inevitable fruits that appear on the trees that have been so lovingly and intentionally cultivated within. They do not chase money, because chasing implies lack. Chasing implies that what you want is separate from you. Instead, they cultivate a state of being, an inner environment so fertile, so resonant with prosperity, that wealth is drawn to it as bees are drawn to a field of flowers. They understand that reality is an inside-out job. The outer world is a mirror, a perfect, unwavering reflection of the state of your inner garden. If you want to change the reflection, you do not try to manipulate the mirror. You change the object being reflected. You change your consciousness. Take a moment now, right where you are. Close your eyes if it feels right. Step back from the stream of your thoughts and become the observer, the silent architect. Look upon the garden of your mind with gentle, compassionate curiosity. What is growing there right now? What thoughts are occupying the land? Do you see the persistent weeds of worry about the future, the thorny bushes of past resentments, the creeping vines of comparison to others? Do not judge. Do not condemn. This is not a moment for shame. It is a moment for simple, honest awareness. Just see them for what they are. Impersonal, habitual thought, forms, seeds planted long ago, perhaps not even by you. Simply noticing them without becoming entangled in them is the first great act of freedom. Now, let us plant one seed. Choose a single, simple, powerful thought that represents the truth of what you want to experience. Perhaps the seed is, "I am worthy of profound peace," or "creative solutions flow to me with ease," or "my presence is a gift to the world." Choose your seed. Find the best soil in your garden, a place in your heart that feels open, and plant it there. Feel the intention. Now, use your imagination to water it. Imagine what it would feel like if this thought were your dominant reality. What is the feeling tone of being profoundly at peace? What is the sensation of creative flow? What does it feel like to know, deep in your bones, that you are a gift? Linger on that feeling. That feeling is the water. That feeling is the sun. It is the frequency that communicates your desire to the universe more powerfully than any words ever could. This is not about pretending. It is about aligning with a deeper truth. This is your only real work. To be the guardian of your mind. To be the silent, loving architect of your inner world. It is not a work of struggle or of force, but of gentle, persistent, unwavering focus. You are not fighting a battle against negativity. You are simply choosing to cultivate a reality of beauty and abundance. You turn your gaze away from the weeds and toward the rose. You build your inner temple stone by stone with thoughts of grace and power. Master this one realm, the kingdom of your mind, and you will find that the outer world will rearrange itself to match your inner construction. The blueprints you draw in the silence of your being will become the palaces in which you live. Tend to your garden. The universe is waiting to bring you flowers. Having established your mind as a sacred garden, we must now introduce the primary tool of its cultivation, the very force that directs life-giving energy to the seeds you have planted. In the vast economy of the universe, there is a currency more precious than any dollar, more potent than any gold. It is the pure, undivided currency of your attention. Every waking moment, you are spending this currency. You are making investments. With every glance, every thought you entertain, every conversation you engage in, you are purchasing a piece of the reality you will inhabit tomorrow. The great tragedy of the modern world is not a lack of opportunity or a lack of information. It is the systematic, industrial-scale theft of this sacred currency. Your attention has been fractured, commoditized, and sold to the highest bidder, scattered across 1,000 flashing screens and empty notifications, leaving you feeling drained, anxious, and powerless. The master of reality, the architect of a life of abundance, understands this profoundly. They recognize that their attention is their creative life force made manifest. Where attention goes, energy flows. It is an immutable law. To give something your attention is to feed it, to nourish it, to say to the universe, "More of this, please." When you spend your attention worrying about a bill, you are not merely thinking a negative thought. You are actively investing your creative energy into the reality of lack. You are feeding the very outcome you dread. When you spend your attention scrolling endlessly through the curated lives of others, you are investing in the feelings of comparison and insufficiency. When you replay old arguments or past failures in your mind, you are using the most powerful currency in existence to purchase more of the same pain. The person who has not claimed sovereignty over their attention is like a billionaire who leaves their wallet wide open in a crowded marketplace. Their wealth is constantly being siphoned away, leaving them to wonder why they are always so spiritually and energetically impoverished. To reclaim this power is to become the master of your world. Imagine your consciousness as a great lighthouse standing on the cliffs of eternity, overlooking the vast, dark ocean of infinite potential. For most people, this lighthouse operates on an automatic, chaotic setting. Its powerful lamp spins wildly, uncontrollably. The beam flashes for a second on a ship of deep desire, then flits to a piece of driftwood from a past shipwreck. It illuminates a monster of fear in the waves, then is momentarily dazzled by the flashing light of another distant, distracting lighthouse. The light is scattered, diffused, and weak. It touches 1,000 things, but brings none of them into focus. It gives nothing a steady, guiding light by which to navigate. This is the state of the scattered mind. It is a state of energetic leakage, where your creative power is so fragmented that it has no force, no ability to influence the currents of reality. A life lived this way is a life of being tossed by the waves, constantly reacting to whatever the spinning light happens to fall upon. Now, imagine the lighthouse keeper, who is the silent architect we spoke of, walking up the winding stairs and taking conscious control of the lamp. He makes a decision. He surveys the endless ocean of potential and chooses one ship to call to shore. This ship is his definite chief aim, his chosen reality, his most cherished vision. With a firm and steady hand, he stops the chaotic spinning. He focuses the immense power of the lamp into a single, coherent, unwavering beam of light. He fixes this beam upon his chosen ship, far out on the horizon. This beam cuts through the fog of societal doubt. It slices through the storms of temporary setbacks. It remains steady even when the waves of fear crash against the shore. The beam does not strain or struggle. It does not chase the ship. It simply holds its focus. And by the magnetic law of this universe, the ship, now held in this constant, nourishing light, begins to move. It adjusts its course. It is drawn, guided, and energized by the steady beam. It navigates a clear path through the darkness, moving ever closer to the harbor of its manifestation. This is the power of consecrated attention. It is a quiet, immense, magnetic force that draws your desires out of the realm of potential and into the harbor of your lived experience. This is the secret behind the almost mythical focus of the world's great creators and entrepreneurs. Their genius is not always that their ideas are superior, but that their ability to hold their attention on a single idea is absolute. While the rest of the world is spinning their lighthouses, distracting themselves with 1,000 new ventures, opinions, and anxieties, the master creator holds their beam steady. They fall in love with one ship, and they commit to bringing it to shore. They say no to 1,000 other interesting vessels so that they can give their one chosen vessel the full, undivided power of their light. They starve distractions, and they pour the entirety of their energetic currency into their primary objective. This is why they seem to operate by different rules. They are not. They are simply using the one fundamental rule with masterful skill. They do not manage time, for time is a fluid illusion. They manage their focus. They know that 1 hour of scattered, fragmented attention is energetically bankrupt, while 5 minutes of pure, unbroken, laser-like focus can alter the very fabric of reality. This is not an easy practice at first. Your mind, conditioned for distraction, will rebel. The urge to let the lighthouse spin will feel overwhelming. The world has trained you to believe that being busy is being productive, that keeping an eye on everything is a sign of responsibility. In truth, this is the path to powerlessness. When you first decide to hold your focus, it may feel uncomfortable. You will feel the pull of your habits, the phantom itch of your phone, the siren song of a new worry. This is the moment of power. To stay with the discomfort, to gently guide the beam back to your chosen ship each time it flickers away, is to strengthen the muscle of your will. The initial pain of focus soon gives way to a profound pleasure. It is the pleasure of integrity, the deep satisfaction of doing what you said you would do. It is the feeling of becoming a cause rather than an effect. The anxiety of the scattered mind is replaced by the calm potency of the focused creator. You stop being a leaky vessel and you become a directed force of nature. Let us practice this now, not for a day or an hour, just for 3 minutes. That is all. For the next 3 minutes, you will become the lighthouse keeper. First, choose your ship. It can be anything. It can be the simple sensation of your breath moving in and out. It can be the feeling of gratitude in your heart. It can be an image of a goal already achieved, a project completed in beautiful detail. Choose one, and only one, target for your attention. Now, for 3 minutes, place the beam of your focus upon it. Hold it there. When your mind wanders to the grocery list, or an old memory, or a sound in the room, and it will do not be discouraged. Do not fight it. That is simply the old habit of the spinning lamp. As the lighthouse keeper, you simply notice the beam has drifted, and with gentle, firm resolve, you guide it back to your ship. The practice is not about achieving perfect, unbroken focus. The practice is in the 1,000 gentle acts of returning. Each time you guide your attention back, you are strengthening your will. You are recasting the neural pathways in your brain. You are telling the universe what truly matters. Each return is a victory. Each return is an investment in your power to create. This is the currency of the gods, hidden in plain sight. It is the energy that turns thought into things, dreams into addresses, visions into ventures. You are spending the currency of your life in every single moment. The choice is yours. You can allow it to be squandered, spent unconsciously on realities you do not want. Or you can claim your power as the lighthouse keeper. You can invest it with deliberate, loving intention in the world you choose to bring forth. Every object in your room, every relationship in your life, every circumstance you face was once just an idea that someone, somewhere, fed with their sustained attention. You are the lighthouse. Your focus is the beam that calls worlds into being. Choose today what you will bring to shore. We have explored the inner garden of the mind and the focused lighthouse beam of attention. Now we arrive at the engine that drives it all, the source of power that is so often misunderstood. Our culture has sold us a gospel of effort. We have been taught that the path to abundance is paved with relentless action, with hustle, with a tireless grind that requires us to sacrifice our peace and well-being on the altar of success. We are told to wake up earlier, work harder, push through the pain. But what if this is only a partial truth? A map that leads to exhaustion just as often as it leads to treasure? What if the universe does not reward struggle? What if it rewards resonance? What if the most powerful and effective state you can achieve is not one of frantic action, but one of profound, unwavering alignment? This is the secret of the masters. They do not row frantically against the current. They align themselves so perfectly with the river of life that they are carried by its immense, effortless power. Action, in itself, is neutral. It is simply a force being applied. But the quality and result of that action depend entirely on the state from which it originates. There are two fundamental states: action from struggle and action from alignment. Action from struggle feels heavy. It is the feeling of should, have to, and must. It is fueled by fear. The fear of not having enough, the fear of being left behind, the fear of what others will think. When you act from this state, you are pushing a great boulder uphill. Every step is a monumental effort. Your energy drains quickly, your creativity dries up, and the results you get are often frustratingly small in proportion to the immense force you have exerted. You end the day feeling depleted, wondering why your heroic efforts have yielded so little. This is the path of the grind, and while it can produce some results, it is an unsustainable and deeply inefficient way to create. It is a war against reality, and in the long run, reality always wins. Aligned action is an entirely different phenomenon. It feels light, energized, and often effortless. It flows not from should, but from a deep, inner is. It is the natural unfolding of your authentic self. It is fueled not by fear, but by joy, curiosity, and a sense of purpose. When you act from alignment, you are no longer pushing the boulder uphill. You are walking beside it as it rolls gracefully down a gentle slope, guided by gravity itself. Your actions have a disproportionate power, a sense of magic and serendipity to them. The right people show up, the right opportunities appear, the solutions to problems reveal themselves with ease. This is the state of flow, where time seems to disappear and you become one with the task at hand. This is not laziness. It is the ultimate leverage. It is aligning your personal will with the universal will, so that the infinite power of the cosmos begins to flow through you, not against you. The creators of vast fortunes and world-changing innovations are not those who struggle the most. They are those who have mastered the art of achieving and sustaining this state of inner alignment. To understand this more deeply, consider the metaphor of a great temple bell. The purpose of this bell is to create a sound, a vibration that can travel for miles, a pure tone that elevates the spirit of all who hear it. The creation of this perfect sound depends on two things: the quality of the bell's metal and the perfection of its shape. The metal of the bell represents your inner world, your core values, your deepest truths, your authentic essence, your fundamental why. Is your metal pure? Is it forged from the integrity of who you really are? Or is it an impure alloy, mixed with the lead of societal expectations, the tin of others' opinions, and the copper of your own fears and insecurities? An impure metal can never produce a pure tone. The shape of the bell, on the other hand, represents your outer world, your goals, your business, your projects, your what. Is the shape of your goal in harmony with the nature of your metal? Does your work allow your authentic self to be expressed, or does it contort you into a shape that creates immense internal stress? When the bell is struck, that is your action. If the metal is impure and the shape is flawed, what happens when you strike it? You get a dull thud, a jarring, dissonant clang. The sound is weak, it dies quickly, and it carries no beauty or power. This is unaligned action. You can strike this flawed bell with all your might. You can hustle and grind and hit it again and again, but you will only get a painful noise and an exhausted body. You will never produce the beautiful, resonant tone you desire. Your effort is wasted because the instrument itself is out of tune with its own nature. Now, imagine a bell cast from the purest bronze, its metal authentic and true. Imagine it is forged into a perfect shape, a form that is the ideal expression of that metal's potential. What happens now when it is struck? The slightest touch, the gentlest tap from a small mallet, can produce a sound of breathtaking beauty and power. The tone is clear, deep, and it seems to hang in the air forever, its vibrations expanding outward in perfect harmonious waves, blessing everything they touch. The power was never in the strike. The power was in the integrity of the bell. This is the mindset of the billionaire creator. They are obsessed, not with action for action's sake, but with the integrity of their own instrument. They work tirelessly on themselves, purifying the metal of their intentions. They ask the deep questions. Why am I truly doing this? Is this coming from a place of love and service, or from a place of fear and ego? Is this an authentic expression of my unique gifts? They are equally ruthless in refining the shape of their ventures. They ensure that their business models, their products, and their company cultures are in perfect alignment with their core values. They are architects of resonance. Because they have done this deep, internal work of alignment, when they do act, when they strike the bell, the effect is magnified 1,000-fold. The world hears the purity of the tone. Customers, employees, and partners are not just drawn to a product, they are drawn to the palpable energy of that authenticity. The wealth that flows to them is simply the universe's echo, the energetic reverberation of the beautiful sound they have created. How then do you find your own alignment, your own true north? You cannot find it with your intellect. The mind can justify anything. The compass you must learn to read is your own emotional and energetic body. It is your feeling state. Your resonance is your guidance system. Throughout your day, begin to practice a simple audit. Ask yourself, does this activity, this conversation, this thought make me feel expansive or contracted? Expansiveness is the feeling of alignment. It feels like openness in the chest, a sense of lightness, of joy, of flow. Contraction is the feeling of misalignment. It feels like tightness, like a knot in your stomach, a sense of dread, heaviness, and depletion. Your body knows your true north. Your feelings are the needle of your inner compass. The great work of your life is to learn to trust this compass above all other voices. It requires creating moments of stillness in your day to simply check in and feel. What is my resonance right now? Am I moving toward my true north, or am I veering off course out of habit or fear? Let us take a moment to practice this now. Bring to mind a significant goal or project in your life. Perhaps it is your career, a business you are building, or a major life decision you are contemplating. See this clearly in your mind. This is the shape of your bell. Now, turn your focus away from the external details and bring your awareness inward to the feeling in your body. This is the metal. Without judgment, ask a simple question. Is pursuing this goal an authentic expression of who I am? Do not think of an answer. Feel for an answer. Does the thought of working on this project generate a subtle warmth and openness in your solar plexus? Or does it create a faint, familiar feeling of tension in your shoulders or your jaw? Does it feel like something you get to do or something you have to do? Be radically honest with yourself. This is not about abandoning your goals. It is about gathering crucial data. The first step toward creating a resonant life is to courageously acknowledge how your current life truly feels. Your life is meant to be a beautiful sound, not a jarring noise. The struggle you feel is not a badge of honor. It is a signpost, a loving message from your deeper self, telling you that you are out of tune. Stop striking the bell with more and more force. Pause, turn inward, and have the courage to examine the bell itself. Purify the metal of your motives. Refine the shape of your vision until it feels resonant and true in your very bones. When you achieve that inner harmony, the slightest action will ripple outward with incredible power, calling your entire world into a new and more beautiful order. Do not seek to act. Seek to align. From that sacred alignment, right action will flow from you as effortlessly as a river flows to the sea. We have tended to the garden of the mind, focused the beam of attention, and tuned the instrument of our being to the frequency of resonance. Now we must confront the greatest obstacle and the most profound test of our creative power, the tyranny of the senses. Your 5 senses are magnificent instruments, but they have one fundamental and crucial limitation. They can only report on what already exists. They are historians, not prophets. They are designed to navigate the world of form, the world that has already been created. The chair you are sitting on, the balance in your bank account, the circumstances of your current life. All of it is the physical residue of past thoughts, past beliefs, and past states of consciousness. To look upon your current reality as the final truth is to be a prisoner of your own history. It is to be trapped in a perpetual feedback loop where the results of yesterday's thinking dictate the thoughts you think today, thereby ensuring that tomorrow will be merely a repetition of yesterday. To create something new, to call forth a reality of abundance that does not yet exist, you must cultivate a faculty that is more powerful, more subtle, and infinitely more creative than physical sight. You must develop vision. Vision is the art of seeing with the inner eye, the eye of the imagination. It is the ability to behold a reality within yourself so clearly, so vividly, and with such persistence that it begins to impress its pattern upon the formless substance of the universe. This requires a unique and quiet form of courage. It is the courage to stand in the midst of your current circumstances, to look at the so-called hard facts presented by your senses, and to say, "I see you, but you are not the final word. You are merely the echo of who I was. I am loyal to a reality that only I can see." This is the great divide between the person who is created by their reality and the person who creates it. To truly grasp this, imagine a master sculptor standing before a colossal, shapeless block of Carrara marble. It is rough, imposing, and to the untrained eye, it is simply a stone. A problem, an obstacle. People walk past and see only what is there, a 10-ton block of rock, but the sculptor sees something entirely different. The sculptor does not see the stone at all. Locked within the marble, fully formed, alive, and breathtakingly perfect, he sees an angel. This angel is not a wish or a vague hope. To the sculptor, the angel is a present fact, a higher reality that is simply obscured by the excess stone surrounding it. The marble is the sculptor's current reality. The angel is his unwavering vision. His job, as he understands it, is not to create an angel from nothing. His job is to reveal the angel that is already there. Each day, the sculptor enters his studio. He does not spend his time analyzing the flaws of the marble, complaining about its hardness, or lamenting its shapelessness. To do so would be to give power to the stone and to lose sight of the angel. Instead, he picks up his tools. His gaze is not on the surface of the rock, but fixed on the invisible contour of the angel's wing, the gentle curve of its hand, the serene expression on its face. The vision is his guide, his blueprint, his ultimate reality. The chisel in his hand is his focused action. The hammer is his unwavering belief, the faith that with every single strike, he is not just hoping to find the angel, but is actively removing a piece of what is not the angel. The sharp, rhythmic sound of the hammer striking the chisel is the sound of courage made manifest. It is the sound of a man acting upon a reality that the rest of the world cannot see. He chips away everything that is unlike his vision until all that remains is the perfect form he held in his mind from the very beginning. The angel was not created by the hammer and chisel, it was released by them. This is the precise mental process of the billionaire creator, the architect of reality. They are sculptors of circumstance. When they look upon the marble of the current world with all its problems, its inefficiencies, its unmet needs, they do not see problems. They see the angel of the solution, the form of the new enterprise, the shape of the disruptive technology that is waiting to be liberated. This vision is so vivid, so complete, so overwhelmingly real in their mind, that the opinions of the world, who can only see the stone, become like background noise. The doubt of skeptics, the warnings of analysts, the laughter of cynics, it is all irrelevant, for they are arguing with a reality that is already obsolete. The creator is in love with the angel. All of their actions, the business plans, the capital investments, the hiring of a team are simply the chipping away of the stone. They have the supreme courage to pour their fortune, their reputation, and their life force into revealing a form that, for a time, exists only in their consciousness. The world calls this audacious risk. From the creator's perspective, the only risk would be to betray the vision. The only failure would be to believe the stone is more real than the angel. This courage is not a loud, aggressive, or arrogant force. It is a quiet, deep, and unshakable inner knowing. It is the ability to exist in the gap between the conception of an idea and its physical birth, and to hold your nerve. This gap is the ultimate crucible. It is the hallway of time where your faith is tested every single day. Your senses will bring you a constant stream of evidence that your vision is false. The bank account has not changed. The phone has not rung. The prototype has failed. The world still looks exactly the same. The senses will scream at you. Give up. Be realistic. You are a fool for believing in something that isn't there. The courage to hold the vision is the ability to hear that scream and to calmly, quietly reply within your own soul. I hear the evidence of my senses, but I give my allegiance to the evidence of my spirit. The angel is real. The harvest is certain. This kind of belief is not a fragile hope that you protect from the world. It is a serene loyalty to an unseen reality, a loyalty so profound that it becomes the most powerful, magnetic, and creative force in your life. Let us become a sculptor for a moment. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and take a breath. Allow the marble of your current life to be exactly what it is. Do not judge it or wish it were different. Simply acknowledge the stone, the current job, the current relationships, the current state of your health or finances. Just let it be. Now, with your inner eye, ask to see the angel dormant within this very stone. What is the highest, most beautiful, most abundant possibility that is waiting to be revealed right where you are? What does the completely fulfilled version of you look like? Do not just think about it in words. Use your inner senses to build the scene. See the expression on your face. Feel the feeling of profound peace or vibrant success in your body. What clothes are you wearing in this fulfilled reality? What sounds do you hear? Are you by the ocean? In a boardroom? Surrounded by loved ones? Make the scene so real, so solid, that for a few moments it eclipses your awareness of the room you are physically in. Feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This feeling is the chisel against the stone. This is your sacred work, not to fight with the reality you see, but to fall so deeply in love with the reality you envision that your vision becomes your home. You must live in this inner state. You must think from the end, feel from the end, and act from the end. You must have the courage to starve the evidence of your senses and feed the evidence of your soul. The world that you currently perceive with your eyes is nothing more than a beautiful and perfect echo of the person you were yesterday. The reality you will step into tomorrow is being forged right now by the quality and persistence of the vision you have the courage to hold today, in this very moment. Stop looking to the stone for permission. Stop asking the past for validation. Gaze upon the angel, see its perfection, fall in love with it. Then pick up your tools and calmly chip away everything that is not magnificent. Now that you stand as the sculptor before the marble of reality, holding your vision with courage, you will inevitably encounter what the world calls problems, setbacks, obstacles, failures, crises. For most, this is the point where the chisel is dropped and the vision fades. A problem is seen as a stop sign, a cosmic red light, evidence that the path is wrong and the dream is impossible. It is perceived as a punishment, an injustice, an unwelcome interruption to the journey. But this is the perception of the ordinary mind. The creative mind, the alchemical mind that builds worlds, understands a deeper, more powerful truth. The problem is not an obstacle on the path. The problem is the path. What if every single challenge that appears in your life is not a barrier, but a doorway? What if every frustration is not a punishment, but a sacred invitation to a higher level of being? This is the art of alchemy, the ancient science of turning lead into gold. It is the core mental process by which true, lasting wealth is created. The alchemist does not see the world as divided into good and bad, fortunate and unfortunate. They see only raw material. Lead is not bad. It is simply dense, dull, and of a low vibration. Gold is not inherently good. It is simply luminous, brilliant, and of a high vibration. The work of the alchemist is to apply a transformative process to the lead, to raise its nature, to reveal the hidden gold within it. Your life works by the exact same principle. A problem is simply a situation with a dense, heavy, leaden energy. It feels stuck, difficult, and resistant. The victim consciousness sees the lead and complains about its weight. The creator consciousness sees the lead and asks, what is the transformative process required here? What fire of focus, what pressure of patience must I apply to reveal the golden opportunity concealed within this very situation? They understand a fundamental universal law. The size of the fortune you create will be in direct proportion to the size of the problem you are willing to solve. Those who solve small problems for themselves live small lives. Those who solve massive problems for others build empires of value. To make this ancient wisdom tangible, consider the miracle that occurs within the humble oyster. It lives its quiet life on the ocean floor, at peace, until one day its world is invaded. A sharp, irritating grain of sand problem breaches its shell and lodges itself deep within the oyster's soft, vulnerable tissue. It is a constant source of friction, a chronic annoyance, a perpetual pain. From this point, the oyster has a choice. It can surrender to the irritation, allowing its entire existence to be defined by this unwelcome intruder, living out its days in a state of inflamed resistance. Or it can choose to perform an act of pure magic. It can become an alchemist. Making this choice, the oyster begins to engage with its problem in a new way. It does not try to fight the grain of sand, for it cannot. It does not try to expel it, for it is lodged too deep. Instead, it begins to secrete a miraculous substance from its own being, a luminous, silvery fluid called nacre. Layer by patient, loving layer, the oyster begins to coat its source of pain. It wraps its greatest irritation in the most beautiful part of itself. It surrounds the sharp edges of its problem with the smooth, iridescent essence of its own soul. This is not a quick process. It takes time, persistence, and a deep, instinctual commitment to transformation. The oyster continues to secrete this nacre day after day, week after week, adding hundreds, then thousands of layers. It is a slow, deliberate act of turning a wound into a work of art. And over time, a miracle occurs. The object that was once the source of its greatest suffering has been utterly transformed. It is no longer a sharp, irritating grain of sand. It has become a beautiful, lustrous, perfect pearl. The obstacle has become the ornament. The problem has become the prize. The very thing that threatened to destroy the oyster has become the most valuable and precious thing it will ever produce. This is not just a beautiful story. It is the precise blueprint for how great enterprises and vast fortunes are created. The minds behind them are master pearl farmers. They are not people who live charmed lives free of problems. On the contrary, they are drawn to problems like a compass needle to north. They actively seek out the biggest, most irritating, most widespread grains of sand they can find in society. While the masses complain about a problem, the creator studies it. They feel its sharp edges. They understand the irritation it causes. Then they begin to secrete the nacre of their own unique genius, their creativity, their focus, their capital, their courage. A frustratingly slow and expensive postal system is a grain of sand. Federal Express is the pearl. The irritation of wanting a book and having to travel to a store to find it is a grain of sand. Amazon is the pearl. The loneliness and disconnection of modern life is a grain of sand. Facebook is the pearl. The immense wealth generated by these ventures is not a reward for avoiding difficulty. It is the natural consequence, the direct measure of the value of the pearl they created. They did not run from the irritant, they wrapped it in a brilliant solution. This same alchemical process must be applied not only to external business problems, but to your own inner landscape. Each of us carries our own grains of sand within us, a past failure that still stings with shame, a perceived personal weakness that fills you with insecurity, a deep-seated fear that paralyzes you from taking action, a painful memory that you have tried to bury. These are your personal grains of sand, and you have the same choice as the oyster. You can allow them to irritate you for your entire life, defining your identity by your wounds, building a personality around the pain, or you can begin the sacred work of secreting your own inner nacre. You can choose to wrap the memory of a past business failure in the luminous nacre of the wisdom you gained from it. You can coat the sharp edges of a personal weakness with the nacre of self-acceptance and the courage to ask for help. You can surround a deep-seated fear with layer after layer of small, courageous actions until the fear itself is transformed into a pearl of unshakable self-confidence. Your greatest strengths, your deepest sources of wisdom and compassion are almost always pearls that were formed around your greatest wounds. Let us practice this alchemy now. Bring to your mind a problem that is currently active in your life. It could be a financial challenge, a difficult relationship, or an obstacle in your career. For a moment, allow yourself to feel it as a grain of sand. Feel its unwelcome friction, its irritating presence. Acknowledge the part of you that wants to resist it, to complain about it, to wish it away. Now, take a breath and shift your perception. Become the alchemist. Instead of resisting the problem, engage it with curiosity. Ask it a new set of questions. Do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this trying to teach me? What quality is this situation demanding that I develop within myself? Is it patience? Is it courage? Is it creativity? Is it humility?" Ask, "What weakness in my approach or my character is this problem mercifully revealing to me?" And most importantly, ask, "What magnificent pearl is waiting to be created here? What incredible opportunity does this problem, and only this problem, make possible?" Feel the subtle shift in your energy as you move from resistance to inquiry. This shift is the beginning of the secretion of nacre. Now, use your imagination. Visualize yourself coating this problem with a shimmering layer of patience. See yourself wrapping it in another layer of creative thinking. Add another layer of unwavering faith that there is gold hidden within this lead. With every layer, the problem begins to lose its sharp edges. It becomes less of an enemy and more of a collaborator. It is no longer a random, malevolent event. It is a purposeful, sacred challenge, sent to you by a wise universe that wants you to grow into the next, more powerful version of yourself. This is not a passive, Pollyanna-like optimism. It is an active, powerful, creative engagement with the raw material of your life. Do not pray for a life without problems. A life without problems is a life without growth, a life without pearls. Instead, pray for the courage and the wisdom to meet your problems with an alchemist's heart. See the world as a vast ocean filled with irritating grains of sand, each one a potential treasure. Your mind is the oyster. Your consciousness is the divine nacre. Stop cursing the sand. It is a sacred gift. Your challenges are not interruptions to your life's work. They are your life's work. The universe has trusted you with this specific problem because it knows you have the unique capacity to transform it into a pearl of great price. Now, begin the divine and profitable work of creating it. We have spoken of the focused mind, the courageous vision, and the alchemical fire that transforms problems into pearls. We have engaged the active masculine principles of creation, but now we must turn to an equally, if not more powerful force. We must explore a territory that the modern, restless mind fears above all others. It is a space that is not built by doing, but by non-doing. It is not found in thinking, but in the cessation of thought. We must now learn to enter the void of creation, the pregnant emptiness, the fertile darkness, the sacred and profoundly uncomfortable state of not knowing. In a world that worships answers, speed, and certainty, the greatest power lies in the courage to embrace the question and to rest in the mystery. All true breakthroughs, all flashes of unpredictable genius, are born not from the frantic churning of what is known, but from a surrender into the silent potential of the unknown. The logical, analytical mind is a magnificent tool. It is a loyal servant, brilliant at organizing, executing, and managing the details of a plan that has already been received. But it is a terrible master. It is a poor instrument for receiving a truly original idea or a solution that lies outside its current framework. The intellect can only rearrange the furniture that is already in the room. It cannot conjure a new piece of furniture out of thin air. True creation, true innovation, does not come from rearrangement. It comes from a space beyond the existing furniture, a space beyond the confines of the room itself. It emerges from the silent, formless field of pure consciousness. The egoic mind, however, abhors this field. It fears silence and equates emptiness with death. It must be in control, it must have a plan, it must know the next 10 steps. Its survival depends on the illusion that it is the one driving the car. To willingly take your hands off the wheel and trust the journey, to step into the fog of not knowing, is therefore an act of supreme faith and the deepest form of creative power. To understand this wisdom, consider the master farmer who wishes to grow a forest from a single acorn. He has a clear vision, the mighty oak tree. He finds the perfect acorn, the seed of his intention. He prepares the soil with diligence and care, clearing away the rocks of past failures and the weeds of limiting beliefs. He plants his acorn at just the right depth. He has done the active part of his work, and now he must perform the most crucial, most difficult, and most powerful act of all. He must surrender. He must let it go. He must trust the process that is utterly beyond his control. The foolish farmer, driven by the anxiety of his ego, cannot bear the state of not knowing. He needs certainty. He needs to see progress. So every morning he takes his spade and digs up the acorn to check if it has sprouted. He examines it, measures it, worries over it. In his desperate and needy search for an answer, he interrupts the magic. He destroys the very conditions required for germination. He will never grow an oak tree. The wise farmer knows better. He knows that the most profound magic happens in the darkness, in the silence, in the complete absence of his own meddling. The germination of the seed is a sacred, mysterious process that unfolds in the void of the soil. Having planted his seed, the farmer's job now shifts from one of active doing to one of active trusting. This is not a passive laziness, it is a vigilant surrender. He tends to the environment of the seed, not the seed itself. He ensures the soil is watered with his faith. He protects the small patch of earth from pests with his diligence. He makes sure nothing blocks the warmth of the sun. He holds the space. He trusts the void. He knows that the silent intelligence within the earth and the acorn is infinitely greater and more ancient than his own restless mind. He allows this greater intelligence to do its work, uninterrupted. He knows that his job is not to force the sprout to emerge, but to create the perfect conditions for it to emerge in its own divine timing. This is the hidden practice of the world's most prolific creators and visionaries. After they have done the intellectual work, the research, the planning, the defining of the problem. They understand the necessity of letting go. They plant the seed of the question in the fertile soil of their subconscious mind, and then they deliberately create a void. They go for a long walk in nature. They play a musical instrument. They engage in physical exercise. They go to sleep. They consciously withdraw their frantic, logical mind from the problem, trusting that a deeper process has been initiated. And the answer, the aha moment, the stroke of genius, almost never arrives when they are hunched over a desk, straining to think. It ambushes them in the shower. It whispers to them on a quiet run. It illuminates their mind in that mystical state between waking and sleep. The solution emerges, fully formed, from the void they had the courage to create. This ability to tolerate the open loop of an unsolved problem, to carry the tension of a question without prematurely grasping for a mediocre answer, is a hallmark of genius. It is the unwavering trust that the seed is germinating in the rich, dark soil of the unseen. Why is this simple act so profoundly difficult for most of us? Because we have been conditioned to believe that our worth comes from our thinking, from our doing, from our problem solving. An empty moment feels like a wasted moment. The mind, fearing its own irrelevance, will rush in to fill any pocket of silence with noise. It will replay conversations. It will construct future anxieties. It will endlessly analyze past mistakes. This mental chatter is the ego's frantic attempt to prove its own existence, to maintain its illusion of control. Think of it as static on a radio line. The universe, the deeper intelligence, is constantly broadcasting the solutions, the insights, the elegant answers you seek. But you cannot hear the subtle, clear signal because the static of your own compulsory thinking is too loud. The practice of embracing the void is the practice of consciously turning down the volume of that static. It is learning to become comfortable in the silence, to see the emptiness not as a threat, to be filled at all costs, but as the very canvas of creation, a space of pure and infinite potential. Let us try this now. Bring to mind a challenge you are currently facing, a difficult decision, a creative block, a relationship issue. Feel the mental energy you have been expending on it. Acknowledge the frantic churn of your thoughts, the endless weighing of pros and cons, the circular arguments within your own head. You have been digging up the seed. Now, we will perform a radical and liberating act. For the next few moments, you will give yourself complete and total permission to not know the answer. Consciously, deliberately withdraw your energy from the problem. Imagine taking the question out of your head and placing it gently on a sacred altar. You are offering it up to the greater intelligence of the universe, releasing your personal responsibility for solving it in this moment. And now, simply rest. Rest in the space that is left. Rest in the quiet, open field of "I don't know," and do not try to fill it. If thoughts arise, just let them drift by. Your only task is to remain in the stillness. Notice any fear or discomfort, and just allow it to be there without judgment. But also notice the possibility of peace, of relief, of a quiet spaciousness opening up within you. This is not an act of giving up. It is an act of stepping up to a higher form of intelligence. It is the wisdom to know that not all doors are opened by pushing. Some are opened by waiting for the lock to click. Your greatest answers are not hiding in the noise of more thinking. They are waiting for you in the fertile silence of no thinking. The void is not empty. It is pregnant with every possibility. It is the uncarved block, the unpainted canvas, the unplayed symphony. Your frantic need for an answer is the very thing that prevents the masterpiece from revealing itself. So do the work, yes. Define your vision, ask your powerful questions, plant your seeds, but then have the courage and the wisdom of the master farmer. Stop digging, stop striving, trust the silent, sacred darkness. Water the soil with your patient faith, And in the fullness of time, when you least expect it, the sprout of genius will effortlessly emerge into the light. The greatest solutions do not come from a search. They come from a surrender. There is a subtle and pervasive poison that anesthetizes the soul and robs more dreams than any failure ever could. It is a state of mind whispered in the quiet corners of our lives, a deferment of living that has become a global pandemic of the spirit. It is the psychological prison of when. You know its language intimately. When I get the promotion, then I'll relax. When I have $1 million, then I'll feel secure and start being generous. When the kids are grown, then I'll pursue my passion. When I retire, then I will find peace. Each of these statements feels logical, responsible even, but each one is a lock on a cage. Each one is a sentence of life imprisonment in a cell called not yet. You are placing your joy, your peace, your power, your very life in a hypothetical future that never arrives, because the future, by its very nature, does not exist. It is always tomorrow. And you, tragically, are always here, today. To escape this prison, you must first understand its architecture. The structure is built from the grand illusion of psychological time. Your mind, in its cleverness, has convinced you that you are a being moving along a timeline from a solid past to a tangible future. But this is not the nature of reality. The past does not exist. What you call the past is merely a collection of memory traces, images and stories stored in your mind, which you are reactivating now. The future does not exist. What you call the future is a collection of mental projections, fantasies and anxieties which you are creating now. The only thing that has ever been real, the only point of access to life, the only dimension in which you have any power whatsoever, is the eternal, ever-present moment of now. To predicate your happiness and creative power on a future event is a profound spiritual error. You are giving your power away to an illusion. You are sending a powerful command to the universe that your desired state is not here, that it is separate from you, that you are in a state of lacking it. And the universe, in its perfect, impersonal logic, simply reflects your dominant state back to you. If your state is one of waiting, it will give you an endless supply of things to wait for. To grasp how to operate in the real world, the world of now, imagine you are standing on the bank of a wide, flowing river. The far bank is your desired reality, the fulfilled vision, the state of abundance, the peace you seek. The common approach, the prison of when, is to stand on the near bank and stare intently at the other side. You obsess over it, you fantasize about it, you worry about how you will ever get there. Your entire focus is on a place where you are not. Now, look down. Stretching across the entire expanse of the river is a path of solid granite stepping stones. Each stone is perfectly placed, leading all the way to the other side. These stones are not in the future, they are here. Each stone represents one present moment. There is no other way to cross the river. You cannot leap to the far bank. You must take the step that is directly in front of you. This is the secret to all real progress. Your entire life's journey is condensed into this one single step. The person trapped in psychological time stands on the first stone, but their mind is on the 100th stone near the far shore. Their footing is unstable. They are filled with the anxiety of the gap, the vast distance between where they are and where they want to be. They might try to take a frantic leap, attempting to skip 5 or 10 stones at once, only to fall into the cold, rushing current of overwhelm and failure. The master of life, the creator who walks on water, does the opposite. They bring their entire attention, their entire being, onto the single stone that is directly beneath their feet. They feel its solidness, its texture, its reality. They are 100% there. Their balance is perfect. Their mind is calm. And because they have so fully inhabited that one step, the next stone, the next present moment, naturally and clearly reveals itself. They are not worried about the 100th step. They know that by taking care of this one step with total presence, the 100th step will eventually become their present reality. They are not building a future. They are living a series of high-quality present moments, and that is what creates the future. This is the profound difference in the creative process of the truly wealthy and effective. The average person says, "When I am rich, I will feel abundant and generous." They are waiting for the external world to change their internal state. The creator of abundance understands this is backwards. They stand on their current stone, no matter how small it seems, and they decide to generate the feeling of abundance and generosity now. They ask, how would the wealthy, fulfilled version of myself handle this present moment? How would they respond to this email? How would they treat this one customer? How would they manage this $10 bill? They then act from that state. They embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled before it has manifested. They are not faking it. They are aligning with it. By generating the state of being on their current stone, they become a vibrational match for the next stone to be one of greater abundance. They are not waiting for their reality to give them permission to feel good. They are using their feeling state to command a new reality into being. This practice of presence also infuses your actions with a supreme quality. An action performed while worrying about the future is a crippled action. An action performed while regretting the past is a poisoned action. But an action that is infused with your total, undivided presence has a power, an intelligence, and a quality of care that is palpable. This is the source of all excellence. When you are speaking to someone, are you truly listening, or are you formulating your reply? When you are writing a proposal, is your whole mind on the words, or is it on the outcome? When you are doing the mundane tasks of your day, do you do them with resentful distraction, or can you bring a sense of honor and focus even to the smallest chore? The quality of your entire life is determined by the quality of your attention in the present moment. This quality is what the world recognizes as value. An email written with presence is more persuasive. A product designed with presence is more elegant. A service delivered with presence is more healing. Wealth is simply the world's response to a lifetime of present moments lived with excellence. Let us anchor this in your direct experience. For just a moment, let go of the entire story of your life. Let go of your name, your past failures and successes, your future hopes and fears. Simply drop it all. Now, bring your awareness into your body, which exists only in the now. Can you feel the subtle field of aliveness that pervades your hands? Can you feel the rhythm of your own breathing without trying to change it? Notice the sounds in the room around you, not as labels, car, clock, computer, but as pure vibration. This is the portal. You have just stepped out of the prison of time and into the reality of the now. In this state, where are your problems? Problems are always about something that happened or something that might happen. They cannot survive in the pure presence of the now. In this space, there is only life unfolding. This is your point of power. From this state, consider one small action you can take towards your goal today. Not the whole goal, just one step. And make a contract with yourself to perform that one action with this quality of presence, as if it were the most important thing in the universe. The great prison of when dissolves the moment you realize that all you ever have is now. The future you dream of is not a destination you arrive at. It is a reality you generate through the quality of your being, right here. Stop staring at the far bank of the river. Your power is not over there. It is right here, beneath your feet. Bring your entire life, your entire consciousness, onto the solid granite of this very moment. Inhabit it so fully, so completely, that there is no room left for fear or for doubt. Live with such presence that the future has no choice but to organize itself around the powerful signal you are emitting today. You do not get to the other side by dreaming about it. You get there by taking this one, solid, present, perfect step. We have built our inner temple, tended the garden of the mind, focused the lighthouse of attention, and stepped into the creative power of the now. But here, at the very heart of the process, where our vision begins to take form in the world, lies the most subtle and seductive trap of all. It is the trap of attachment. It is the moment we fuse our sense of self, our core identity, with the outcome of our efforts. It is when the thought, "I am creating this business," morphs into the belief, "I am this business." It is when the goal, "I want to build wealth," becomes the conviction, "My net worth is my self-worth." The instant this fusion occurs, you have sown the seeds of fear. You have invited anxiety into the architect's studio, and you have fundamentally sabotaged the pure creative flow you have worked so diligently to cultivate. This entanglement of self and outcome is a dangerous equation. When you believe your business is you, then the natural ups and downs of the venture become personal triumphs and personal devastations. A successful quarter doesn't just feel good, it inflates your ego, making you arrogant and less receptive. A failed product launch doesn't just feel disappointing, it becomes a deep personal shame, a declaration of your inadequacy as a human being. When your identity is pegged to your bank account, every market fluctuation becomes a seismic shock to your sense of well-being. Living this way, you are a ship tossed on the waves of circumstance, your inner peace completely at the mercy of external events you cannot fully control. This constant state of potential threat generates a low-grade, chronic fear. And fear is the great constrictor of genius. Fear clouds intuition. It makes you risk-averse. It encourages short-term, defensive thinking. You stop making decisions that serve the grand vision and start making decisions that protect your fragile ego. You have ceased to be a creator and have become a security guard for your own self-image. To break free from this, we must look to the wisdom of the masters, who understood that peak performance arises from a paradoxical state of ultimate commitment and ultimate detachment. Consider the wisdom of Zen, embodied in the metaphor of the master archer. Imagine a grand archery tournament with a valuable prize. The novice archer steps up to the line. His knuckles are white as he grips the bow. His mind is a chaotic storm of thoughts. I must hit the bullseye. Everyone is watching me. If I miss, I will be a failure. If I win, I will be a success. His focus is not on the elegant process of the shot, but entirely on the future outcome and what it will mean for his ego. His body, responding to this mental tension, becomes tight. His breathing is shallow and erratic. His release of the arrow is a jerky, desperate act of trying. The arrow, burdened by all this neediness, flies erratically. Now, watch the Zen master as he steps to the same line. He is calm. His breath is deep, slow, and rhythmic, originating from his center. He is not thinking about the prize. He is not thinking about the crowd. He is not even thinking of himself as an archer who is about to shoot. He enters a state of profound union, a state of non-duality. For a timeless moment, the man, the bow, the arrow, the target, and the air between them all become one seamless reality. His entire being is focused on the process, on the feeling of the bowstring against his fingers, the expansion of his chest as he draws it back. The release of the arrow is not a distinct, decision-driven doing. It is a happening. It is the natural, inevitable culmination of his perfectly aligned state of being. The arrow leaves the bow as a sigh of relief. And because his ego, his sense of I, was completely absent from the equation, his body remained perfectly relaxed, open, and aligned. The arrow flies true with deadly accuracy, not because he tried to hit the target, but precisely because he surrendered the desperate need to hit it. His perfection came from his detachment. This is the state of serious play that is the hallmark of the most effective and prolific creators. They are not grimly struggling with their work. They are engaged in an intense, focused, and joyful game. They pour immense effort, discipline, and resources into their ventures. They draw the bow with great strength and precision. However, the greatest among them maintain a core of inner detachment from the results. They know, on a deep level, that they are not their companies. They are not their stock portfolios. They are not their successes, and they are not their failures. They are the silent, unchanging consciousness that is having the experience of building, creating, winning, and losing. This core detachment is their superpower. It grants them the freedom to make bold, intuitive, and often contrarian decisions that a fear-based, ego-attached individual could never countenance. It allows them to pivot on a strategy without feeling like they are admitting personal defeat. It gives them the strength to compassionately shut down a failing projecto, unstring a faulty bow without it shattering their sense of self. It allows them to ride the exhilarating waves of success without being deluded by arrogance, knowing that this too is a transient phenomenon. They play the game of life with absolute commitment, but they never forget that it is a game. Cultivating this state of detached engagement is a subtle, lifelong practice. It begins with the development of the witness, the silent architect we have spoken of before. It is the practice of constantly creating a space between you, the unchanging awareness, and the thoughts, feelings, and events that unfold in your life. When a project succeeds and the feeling of elation arises, the practice is to feel it fully, but to have a part of your awareness that simply observes, elation is here. You do not become the elation. You are the space in which elation is happening. When a crisis hits and a wave of fear or panic washes over you, the practice is to feel it without resistance, but to maintain that same inner witness that observes. Fear is present now. You do not become the fear. You are the vast, calm sky, and the fear is just a dark cloud passing through. This practice gradually severs the toxic weld between your identity and your circumstances. You shift your sense of I am from the fluctuating world of form to the eternal, unshakable ground of formless being within. Let us engage in this practice for a moment. Bring to mind a goal you are currently pursuing, something you are deeply and emotionally invested in. Feel your desire for it to succeed. Acknowledge the part of you that is attached to it, the part that has fused its well-being with this specific outcome. Now, in the theater of your mind, perform a radical act of release. Imagine the project failing in the most spectacular way. Imagine it all coming to nothing. Allow the wave of feeling disappointment, fear, sadness, embarrassment to arise. Do not suppress it, but as it comes, do your best to stay as the impartial observer. Just watch the feeling as if it were a weather pattern. Notice that behind the feeling, behind the storm, you are still here. The watcher, the awareness, unharmed, unchanged. Now, clear the screen. Imagine the project succeeding beyond your wildest dreams. Imagine the applause, the wealth, the validation. Allow the wave of elation, of pride, of excitement to wash over you. But again, stay as the observer. Feel the energy, but notice that you, the core consciousness, are the same. You are the silent presence that is experiencing both the failure and the success. You are independent of both. This is the ultimate freedom. True power is found in the paradox of caring with all your heart, yet being attached to none of it. Your sacred duty is to fall in love with the process, not the prize. Pour your soul into your work. Strive for excellence in every detail. Give the world the absolute best you have to give. But once you have done your part, you must release the outcome to the universe with open hands. You must trust that the result, whatever it may be, is the perfect and appropriate one for your journey. You are the archer, not the arrow, and not the target. Your task is to perfect your stance, your breath, your focus, and your alignment. Your joy is found in the exquisite tension of the drawn bow, in the feeling of power and potential gathered in the present moment. The moment the arrow leaves the string, it is no longer yours. Its flight is in the hands of the wind and destiny. Let it go. Your ultimate victory is not in hitting the mark. It is found in the profound peace and liberating beauty of the release. Of all the frantic pursuits that occupy human consciousness, none is more pervasive and more profoundly misunderstood than the pursuit of wealth. We are taught from a young age that wealth is something you get. It is a prize to be won, a fortress to be conquered, a finite resource existing outside of ourselves that we must chase, acquire, and accumulate, often at the expense of others. We strategize on how to get it, we worry about not having enough of it, and we structure our lives around this endless, draining pursuit. But the creators of true, sustainable abundance, those who seem to operate by a different set of rules, understand a deeper, more elegant universal law. Wealth is not something you get. It is something you receive. It is a perfect, unfailing echo of the value you first give to the world. The focus on getting is the very consciousness of lack that repels the thing you seek. The focus on giving is the consciousness of abundance that magnetizes it to you. You must understand what money truly is. Money is not wealth. Money is a symbol of value. It is a current of energy that flows through a society. It is, in its purest form, a certificate of appreciation. It is the universe's way of saying, thank you for the value you have provided, for the problem you have solved, for the joy you have created, for the service you have rendered. To focus your life's energy on accumulating these certificates of appreciation without first being deeply engrossed in the act of creating appreciable value is a form of madness. It is like a musician who obsesses over getting a standing ovation without first pouring his soul into playing the music beautifully. It is like an author who dreams only of the bestseller list but takes no joy in the craft of writing the book. The mind of scarcity focuses on the ekkoth money, the applause, the fame. The mind of abundance focuses on the shout, the value, the music, the work itself. And it is the quality of the shout that determines the magnitude of the echo. To embody this principle, let us turn our gaze to the silent wisdom of a great tree standing in a field. Consider a magnificent, mature apple tree. Does this tree spend its days worrying about getting what it needs to survive and grow? Does it scheme about how to acquire more sunlight? Does it enter into stressful negotiations with the soil for a greater share of nutrients? Does it look at the clouds with anxiety, begging them for rain? The tree, of course, does none of these things. It has never once entertained a thought of getting. The tree is not engaged in the consciousness of acquisition at all. It is engaged in something far more powerful, something far more creative. It is engaged in the singular, joyful, and relentless act of being a tree. Its entire existence is an act of authentic self-expression. It instinctively uncurls its leaves towards the sky, not with the needy intention of getting sunlight, but because that is its essential nature. In so doing, it becomes a perfect receiver for the light. It pushes its roots deep down into the dark earth, not with a motive of taking water and minerals, but because that is what it must do to anchor itself and stand tall. In so doing, it becomes a perfect conduit for the nourishment of the soil. The tree is in a constant, meditative state of giving itself to its own purpose, of expressing its treeness without reservation. As a natural and automatic consequence of this radical act of being, it receives everything it needs to flourish. Sunlight, water, and nutrients pour into it freely, but the miracle does not stop there. Having received so abundantly, the tree cannot help but overflow. It enters the second, glorious phase of its nature. the act of giving back. It effortlessly produces the sweet fragrance of its blossoms, it cleanses the air, it offers cooling shade to any who would rest beneath it, and finally, in an act of supreme generosity, it produces a harvest of nourishing apples, which it gives away freely to all, without ever asking for anything in return. Its giving is not a transaction, it is the spontaneous, joyful overflow of its own well-being. This is the precise model for a life and a business of profound and sustainable wealth. The greatest entrepreneurs, the most revered creators, are not those who set out with the primary intention of getting rich. That is the mindset of the echo chaser. The true masters are those who, like the tree, become obsessed with the act of being and giving. They fall in love with a particular type of value they can offer the world. Their entire focus shifts from the self to the service. They ask the questions of the tree. How can we design our business, our lives, to be a more perfect receiver for the light of our customers' true needs? How can we sink the roots of our company deeper into the soil of our core principles and integrity? How can we produce the most delicious, most elegant, most nourishing apple for the world in the form of our product or service? They become so joyfully engrossed in this process of value, creation of becoming the best possible tree they can be, that the receiving of money becomes an automatic, natural, and often overwhelming consequence. The vast fortunes they command are the universe's way of saying thank you for the vast value they first provided. They focused on the shout, and the world returned an echo of thunderous applause. This requires a fundamental and courageous shift in the primary question that drives your life. The question of the scarcity mindset is, what can I get from the world? How can I make a lot of money? This question, though common, is a trap. It comes from a place of personal lack and neediness. It leads to short-term thinking, imitation of others, and a constricted energy that repels genuine opportunity. You must replace it with the question of the abundance mindset. What is my unique gift to give to the world? What value can I create that is an authentic expression of who I am? This question changes everything. It connects you to your core purpose. It taps into your innate creativity, your genuine passions, your soul's calling. It shifts your energy from a clenched fist, desperately trying to grab its share, to an open hand, ready to offer its gifts. And the laws of energy and of life are simple. The universe cannot place its treasures into a fist that is already clenched. It can only give its gifts to a hand that is open. Take a quiet moment now, and let us perform this shift within you. Gently set aside all your thoughts about money, bills, and financial goals. Let them drift away for a while. Turn your attention inward to the silent, wise center of your being. And from this space, ask yourself a new set of questions. Not what the world wants from you, but what your soul wants to give to the world. What is the unique gift, the special flavor of value that only you can provide? What problem or source of suffering in the world touches your heart so deeply that you would joyfully work to solve it, even if money were no object? What is the unique fruit that your personal life tree is meant to produce? It may be a business that helps millions. It may be a piece of art that inspires one person. It may be the raising of a conscious and loving child. It may be the kindness you show to a stranger. The scale and form do not matter. The only thing that matters is the authentic essence of the giving. Identify that essence, and then identify one small, simple way you can give that gift, offer that value today, with no thought of what you will get back. This is the path out of the desert of lack and into the garden of abundance. It is the law of circulation. Energy, love, and value cannot be hoarded. They atrophy and die if they are not in motion. They must flow. To receive, you must first give. Your focus is your command to the universe. Focus on getting, and you will forever be in a state of lack. Focus on giving, and you will find yourself in a state of perpetual, overflowing abundance. Stop chasing the fleeting shadow of money. It will only exhaust you and leave you empty-handed. Turn around, face the sun, attend to the substance that casts the shadow. Become like the great tree. Devote your life to the singular, magnificent, and joyful act of expressing your own deepest nature and giving your unique gifts to the world. Sink your roots into your truth. Reach your branches toward the light, and you will find that the wealth of the entire universe will flow to you and through you as naturally and as effortlessly as the rain falls from the sky. We have journeyed deep into the inner world, exploring the architecture of mind and the nature of creative power. It can be tempting to believe that this work is a solitary pursuit, a battle waged entirely within the fortress of your own consciousness. But this is an illusion. No being is an island. You are a resonant field of energy, and you are in a constant, silent, and profound energetic exchange with everything and everyone around you. You have been told that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. This is true, but no captain sails in a vacuum. You are sailing upon a vast and invisible ocean of energy, and the very substance of your ship, your moods, your thoughts, your beliefs is porous. It is constantly absorbing the quality of the water it is sailing in. To believe you can build a magnificent inner world while ignoring the quality of your outer world is to build a beautiful house in the middle of a toxic swamp. Sooner or later, the fumes will seep through the walls. There is an old adage that states you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is a powerful truth, but it is only the beginning of the story. The principle goes much deeper. You are the average of the 5 primary energies you allow into your field of awareness. These sources form your unseen council, the invisible board of directors that constantly shapes your consciousness, whether you are aware of it or not. This council includes the people you speak to, yes, but it also includes the music you listen to, the books and articles you read, the television shows and movies you watch, the social media feeds you scroll through, and the physical environment you inhabit day after day. Each of these inputs carries a distinct energetic signature, a specific vibrational frequency. A conversation steeped in gossip and complaint carries the frequency of lack. A song built on themes of heartbreak and despair carries the frequency of victimhood. A news report focused on disaster and conflict carries the frequency of fear. A cluttered, disorganized room carries the frequency of chaos and confusion. Without conscious awareness, you are marinating your soul in these frequencies all day long. You are drinking from these wells, and then you wonder why you feel anxious, uninspired, and powerless. To understand the critical importance of curating this council, let us use a simple, stark metaphor. Imagine that your personal energetic field, your consciousness, is a tall, perfectly clear glass of pure water. It is pristine, vibrant, and filled with the light of your highest potential. It is the natural state of your being. Now, watch as a single, tiny drop of black ink is released from a dropper and falls into the glass. The drop of ink is so small, so seemingly insignificant compared to the volume of water. But what happens? It does not remain a contained little sphere. It immediately begins to bleed and swirl, its dark, smoky tendrils reaching out in all directions until, in a matter of moments, the entire glass of water is no longer clear. It has become a murky, clouded, uniform gray. The light cannot shine through it as brightly. Its pristine nature has been compromised. The potency is diluted. The clear water is your natural, high vibrational state of peace, creativity, and abundance. The single drop of black ink is the brief but potent exposure to a low vibrational energy source. It is the 10 minutes you spend scrolling through angry, divisive comments on the internet. It is the 5-minute phone call with a relative who sees nothing but problems and negativity in the world. It is the casual gossip you participate in with a coworker by the coffee machine. It is the violent television show you watch just before you go to sleep. You may think these encounters are insignificant, that you can just brush them off. But energy doesn't work that way. Like the drop of ink, the negative frequency does not stay localized. It seeps into your entire field, lowering your baseline vibration, clouding your intuition, and making it exponentially more difficult to access the feelings of joy, gratitude, and possibility that are the prerequisites for creating an abundant life. The great work, then, is not to spend your days trying to purify the clouded water, an exhausting and often futile task. The work of the master creator is to become the vigilant gatekeeper of the glass and to prevent the ink from ever dropping in the first place. This is a secret that the world's most successful and effective individuals understand on a cellular level. They are notoriously, almost ruthlessly, protective of their time, their attention, and their associations. This is often misinterpreted by the outside world as arrogance, elitism, or being out of touch. It is none of these things. It is strategic, energetic hygiene. They understand, consciously or unconsciously, that their clarity of mind and their positive energy are their most valuable assets. They are the clear water, and they cannot afford to have it contaminated. They instinctively curate their unseen counsel with the precision of a museum director selecting masterpieces. They surround themselves with other visionaries, optimists, and builders, people who speak the language of possibility, not the language of complaint. They read the biographies of great historical figures, absorbing the energy of resilience and genius. They study subjects that expand their minds and challenge their assumptions. They create physical environments for themselves, homes and offices that are clean, orderly, beautiful, and inspiring. They build a powerful, energetic greenhouse around themselves, a high-frequency bubble that protects the tender seeds of their ideas from the harsh, cold winds of a cynical world. Now, you must become the curator of your own counsel. You must conduct a radical and brutally honest audit of the energies you are allowing into your life. This is not about judging other people as good or bad. It is about dispassionately recognizing which energies are ink and which energies are pure water. Take inventory. Who are the 5 people you interact with most? After you speak with each of them, do you feel energized and expanded, or do you feel drained and diminished? What is the primary emotional tone of the music that forms the soundtrack of your life? Is it uplifting and powerful, or is it melancholic and disempowering? When you first wake up, what is the first informational energy you consume? Is it the curated inspiration of a book, or the chaotic, fear-based agenda of the morning news or a social media feed? Look around the room you are in right now. Does it feel like a sanctuary that supports your best self, or is it a chaotic reflection of a cluttered mind? Be honest. Your life is the sum total of these influences. This audit will inevitably lead you to a point of decision. It will require courage. It may mean lovingly and gracefully creating distance between yourself and a friend or family member who is a chronic source of negativity. It does not require a dramatic confrontation. It can be as simple as letting the phone ring or being less available for conversations that you know will drain you. It will mean making a conscious, deliberate choice to change your informational diet. It means clicking unfollow on the accounts that trigger comparison and envy, and actively seeking out the voices that inspire and educate you. It means turning off the television and picking up a book that nourishes your soul. It means taking 30 minutes to clean and organize your personal space, transforming it from a source of stress into a sanctuary of peace. These are not small things. These are the fundamental acts of a conscious creator taking radical responsibility for their own energetic reality. Let us make this a practical experiment. For the next 7 days, commit to being a vigilant gatekeeper. Make one conscious upgrade in your unseen counsel each day. On Monday, listen only to uplifting music. On Tuesday, call the most positive and inspiring person you know. On Wednesday, fast from all news and social media for the entire day. On Thursday, read 2 chapters of a book that makes you feel powerful. On Friday, deep clean your bedroom or office. On Saturday, spend time in nature. On Sunday, write down 5 things you are grateful for and speak of nothing but gratitude. At the end of this 1 week, take stock. Notice the difference in your baseline mood. Notice the clarity of your thoughts. Notice the quality of the ideas that come to you. You will have proven to yourself, through direct experience, that your environment is not just a background to your life. It is an active participant in the creation of your life. Your consciousness is a sacred temple, and you are its high priest and its guardian. It is your most solemn duty to stand guard at the gate with love and vigilance. You would not allow someone to walk into a pristine temple with muddy boots. Why then would you allow the muddy, fearful, and cynical thoughts of the world to trample through the sacred space of your mind? Keep your water clear, protect your field, curate your counsel. For a mind that is pristine, sovereign, and uncontaminated by the ink of the collective neurosis becomes a perfect, shining chalice, ready and worthy to be filled with the boundless creativity, wisdom, and abundance of the universe. We have arrived at the very engine room of creation, the source code of reality itself. In our journey, we have been taught to ask for what we want. We craft our affirmations with meticulous care. We repeat our mantras with discipline. We send our prayers out into the cosmos like written petitions to a distant king, hoping that if our words are sincere enough, they will be heard, and our request will be granted. But this entire model is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of our relationship with the universe. The universe is not a cosmic listener that understands English or Spanish or any other human language. It is not an entity that is persuaded by the logic of your pleas or the passion of your speech. The universe responds to a much older, much deeper, and much more honest language. The native tongue of the cosmos is not vocabulary. It is vibration. It is frequency. It is the silent, powerful, and undeniable language of feeling. Every moment of your existence, you are broadcasting an energetic signal, a frequency that is determined by your dominant emotional state. This feeling state is your real prayer. It is your true affirmation. Your body is a resonant tower, and your heart is the transmitter, sending out a clear signal that says to the universe, "This is who I am. This is my reality." The universe, which is a vast and impartial quantum field, does not judge your signal. It does not analyze it. It simply matches it. It receives your vibrational broadcast and reflects back to you circumstances and experiences that are a perfect harmonic match for the frequency you are emitting. This is why repeating the words, "I am wealthy and abundant," while your entire being is screaming the feeling of "I am broke and terrified," is a futile and frustrating exercise. The universe does not hear the lie you are telling with your mouth. It feels the truth you are screaming with your heart. The feeling of lack is the more powerful, more honest broadcast, and so the universe, in its infinite and impersonal wisdom, dutifully delivers to you more experiences that will validate and perpetuate that feeling of lack. This is the great secret that has been hidden in plain sight. The feeling of the wish fulfilled must precede the physical fulfillment of the wish. To make this clear, imagine the universe as a grand broadcasting station, like a limitless radio tower. It is transmitting an infinite number of realities on an infinite number of frequencies, all simultaneously. Right now, there is a station constantly broadcasting the reality of struggle, debt, and painful effort. Its frequency is a chaotic, jarring static. At the same time, another station is broadcasting the reality of quiet contentment and simple joys. Its frequency is like a calm, gentle melody, and somewhere on the dial, a clear and powerful station is constantly broadcasting the reality of profound, creative, joyful, and overflowing abundance. Its frequency is like a magnificent symphony. These broadcasts never stop. They are all available right now, in this very moment. The reality of lack and the reality of plenty are coexisting as waves of potential. Now, see your emotional body, your feeling state, as a sophisticated radio receiver. And your capacity to generate and sustain a feeling is the tuning dial. If your tuning dial is set to the frequency of fear or anxiety or despair, the AM band of consciousness, you will only be able to pick up the broadcast of struggle. You will hear the news reports of disaster. You will notice all the evidence of scarcity around you. You will attract experiences that confirm your fearful state. From this frequency, you can stand by your radio and scream, "Play the symphony of abundance." I demand to hear the symphony. But it will do you no good. The radio cannot play a frequency it is not tuned to. It is not that the symphony isn't playing, it's that you are on the wrong band entirely. The only way to hear the symphony is to stop shouting at the radio, to calmly walk over to the tuning dial of your own heart, and to deliberately, consciously, and with feeling, change the station. The work is not in convincing the universe to change its broadcast. The work is in having the discipline and the wisdom to change your own tuner. This is the core, non-negotiable practice of the Master Manifestor, the true architect of worlds. They understand that to experience wealth, they must first become a vibrational match for wealth. They must learn to broadcast the feeling of wealth before the evidence of wealth has appeared. This is not about acting arrogant or living in a foolish delusion. It is a private, disciplined, internal art. In the quiet of their own mind, in their meditations, before the company is a success, they practice generating the feeling of accomplishment. Before the contracts are signed, they practice conjuring the feeling of relief. Before the bank account is full, they practice embodying the feeling of profound security and freedom. They learn to walk, talk, and make decisions from this assumed state of fulfillment. This powerful, coherent, internal state, this sustained emotional broadcast, is the magnetic force that then begins to organize the quantum field around them. It draws people, ideas, resources, and serendipitous events to it, all of which are a perfect match for the signal being transmitted. They do not chase success. They embody a frequency that success finds irresistible. The old adage, "Fake it till you make it," is a crude and often misunderstood approximation of this law. The real secret is, feel it till you see it. How then do you practice this? How do you feel something that your senses tell you is not yet real? You do it through the masterful use of your imagination, the studio of God. This is not about lying to yourself or suppressing your genuine negative emotions when they arise. When a wave of fear comes, you acknowledge it, you feel it, you let it pass through you without judgment. But you do not set up camp there. You do not make it your home. The conscious practice is to set aside specific times to deliberately enter the feeling state of your desire. The process is simple yet profound. First, get still and define what it is you want, not in vague terms, but as a specific, fulfilled event. Then, ask the most important creative question there is: what would it feel like if this were already true? Do not ask what you would think. Ask what you would feel. Would the dominant feeling be relief? Would it be exhilarating freedom? Would it be a deep, quiet sense of peace? Would it be unshakable security? Would it be bubbling, ecstatic joy? Isolate the core, dominant feeling. Now begins the sacred alchemy. Your only job is to generate that precise feeling in your body now, without any external cause. Use a memory or a powerful act of imagination. If the feeling is relief, Imagine the moment you receive the news that the problem is solved. Feel your shoulders, which have been tense for years, finally drop. Let out the deep sigh you have been holding in. Let the physical sensation of relief wash over you like a warm wave. If the feeling is freedom, imagine walking out of your job for the last time or paying off your final debt. Feel the lightness in your limbs, the expansion in your chest. Smile the smile of a truly free person. You must wear this feeling like a garment until it becomes your natural state. This act of consciously generating a feeling state is the highest form of prayer. It is speaking to the universe in its own native tongue. Let us tune your radio right now. Choose one specific desire that you hold dear. For a moment, let go of all thoughts about how it will happen, when it will happen, or whether it is possible. Suspend all disbelief. Focus only on the end result, already accomplished. Now, close your eyes. Ask the question, what is the primary feeling of this wish fulfilled? Isolate it. Name it. Now, for the next 2 minutes, your only job in the entire universe is to generate that feeling. Breathe into it. Let it fill every cell of your body. If you get distracted, gently return to the feeling. Feel it without reservation, without apology. This 2-minute act of concentrated feeling is more powerful than 2,000 hours of worried, wishful thinking. You are sending out a clear, coherent signal. You are changing your point of attraction. You are tuning your radio. You are a broadcasting tower of immense power. Your feelings are not merely reactions to your life. They are the creative cause of your life. So you must become a conscious broadcaster. You must stop shouting at reality in a language it does not understand and start whispering to it in the language it cannot resist. The magnificent symphony of abundance is already playing. It is on the air, right now. It has never stopped. It is broadcasting on a clear and powerful frequency, waiting for you to tune in. Stop begging the radio to play your song. Walk over to the tuning dial of your own heart, and with gentle, deliberate, loving intention, tune yourself to the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. Do this, and you will discover, with a joy that is beyond words, that the music you were so desperately seeking on the outside has been playing inside you all along. From the first day in the schoolyard to the last day in the boardroom, we are indoctrinated into a fundamental and deeply flawed creed that life is a competition. We are trained to measure our own progress against the progress of others, to view our peers as rivals on a crowded racetrack, and to believe the subtle, poisonous lie that for us to win, someone else must lose. This consciousness of competition is so deeply ingrained in our culture that we rarely stop to question it. We accept it as the natural order of things, the engine of innovation, and the bedrock of a successful life. But this belief is the single greatest barrier to accessing the field of infinite abundance. Competition is a prison of the mind, and its walls are built from the bricks of a single powerful illusion, the illusion of scarcity. The competitive mindset is born from the belief that there is not enough to go around. It sees the world as a single small pie, and it concludes that the only way to have a bigger slice for yourself is to take it from someone else. This worldview forces you to live in a state of constant comparison. Your gaze is never fully on your own path. It is always looking sideways, nervously monitoring the position of others. Another's success becomes a threat to your own, sparking feelings of envy and inadequacy. Another's failure brings a secret, guilty sense of relief, a momentary assurance that you are still in the race. To live this way is to suffer a profound and constant leakage of creative energy. The precious attention that you could be using to cultivate your garden, to focus your lighthouse, and to sculpt your angel is instead squandered on the meaningless and draining task of watching other people's races. It disconnects you from your own authentic rhythm and forces you to adopt the pace and direction of the herd, running a race you were never meant to run, towards a finish line that will never truly satisfy your soul. To break free from this collective hypnosis, we must look to the wisdom of the cosmos, which operates on a principle of cooperative expansion, not competitive limitation. Consider the cosmic dance of the sun and the moon. Does the moon curse the approach of the dawn, lamenting that the sun's brilliant fire will outshine its own gentle glow? Does the sun, in its midday glory, look down upon the pale sliver of the moon in the sky and see a rival, a competitor for the attention of the world? The very idea is absurd. They are not in competition because they are not in the same game. They are two entirely different, utterly unique, and equally perfect expressions of cosmic light. They are playing in different leagues, on different fields, for different purposes. To compare them is to fundamentally misunderstand the nature of both. The sun has its own time to shine, and when it is its time, it does so with unapologetic, magnificent, life-giving power. Its gift to the world is the gift of heat, of vibrant color, of photosynthesis, of stark and beautiful clarity. The moon, in its turn, has its own time to govern the sky. It shines with a serene, mystical, and reflective grace. Its gift is the gift of the tides, of dreams, of the romantic and the mysterious, a different kind of light that does not erase the darkness, but reveals the infinite beauty of the stars within it. The world needs both the brilliant fire of the day and the soft mystery of the night. The ultimate power of both the sun and the moon lies in their absolute, unwavering commitment to their own intrinsic nature. The moon does not waste a single joule of energy trying to become hotter like the sun. The sun does not distract itself by trying to learn how to control the oceans. They are powerful because they are authentic. This is the mindset of the true creator, the spiritual billionaire. They have transcended the illusion of competition because they have discovered their own unique light. They understand, on a soul-deep level, that there is no one else on this planet with their specific and unrepeatable combination of gifts, passions, experiences, perspectives, and eccentricities. Therefore, their life's work is not to beat others at a pre-existing game. Their work is to invent a new game, a game that only they can play. While the masses are caught in a bloody battle for a bigger slice of the same familiar pie, the true creator has quietly slipped away into their own kitchen. They are joyfully absorbed in the process of mixing their unique ingredients, following their own strange recipe, and baking a completely new kind of pie that the world has never even imagined before. Their focus is not on what their competitors are doing. Their focus is on the authentic expression of their own inner flavor. This is why the greatest innovators so often create entirely new industries and categories out of thin air. They were not trying to compete in the old world. They were busy giving birth to a new one. This path of non-competitive creation is the path of radical authenticity. It requires that you turn your gaze away from the noisy, distracting marketplace of the world and turn it inward, into the quiet sanctuary of your own being. It requires that you have the courage to ask the questions that truly matter. Not, how can I be better than them? But, who am I truly? Not, how can I win? But, what is the game that only I was born to play? This path is discovered by noticing the intersections. What is the strange combination of things that you love? What is the work that feels like effortless play to you, but looks like difficult work to others? What is the unique light, the special wisdom that your specific life experiences have forged within you, that only you can now shine upon the world? Embracing this authenticity can be frightening at first. It means leaving the safety of the well-trodden path. It means giving up the comfort of comparing yourself to conventional metrics of success. It means having the courage to be different, to be misunderstood, to be, like the moon in the daytime, a pale and solitary mystery. But this is the only path to true freedom and boundless, non-competitive abundance. Let us engage in this liberation now. Take a moment and bring to mind a person, a business, or an entity that you have considered a competitor. Feel the subtle energetic chords of comparison. Feel the tension in your body that comes from being in a race, the slight anxiety of needing to keep up or get ahead. Acknowledge this feeling without judgment. It is a deeply ingrained human habit. Now, with a conscious act of your will, bless them. In your mind, wish them well. See them succeeding on their path, and be at peace with it, for their path is not yours. Their success takes nothing from you. Now, cut the energetic cords. Draw your attention back from their race and bring it fully into your own center. Ask your soul the great question, what is my light? Am I a sun, here to shine with fierce, creative, life-giving intensity? Or am I a moon, here to glow with quiet, reflective, mystical wisdom? Or am I something else entirely, a star, a comet, a nebula? There is no wrong answer. There is only your truth. And for the next 24 hours, make a sacred pact with yourself. You will not compare your journey, your progress, or your results with any other human being. When you catch your mind drifting into comparison, as it might, simply smile at the old habit and gently guide your focus back to the task of authentically expressing your own unique nature. The frantic race of competition is a nightmare built upon the lie of scarcity. The universe is infinitely vast, endlessly creative, and profoundly abundant. There is a unique throne, a unique kingdom, and a unique path to glory for every single soul that has ever existed. Your only task is to stop trying to usurp someone else's throne and to have the courage to find and claim your own. The sun and the moon do not compete with each other. They do not compare their light. They simply, magnificently, and unapologetically shine. Stop looking over your shoulder at the race others are running. It is not your concern. It is not your race. Turn your gaze inward. Discover the quality of your own sacred light, and then turn your face to the world and shine with all the power, all the grace, and all the unapologetic authenticity you possess. The world is not waiting for another imitation, another copy, another runner in the same old race. It is waiting for the one and only thing it has never seen before. It is waiting for you. Now, go and play your own beautiful game. We have spoken at length of the power of a focused vision, of the importance of a clear and resonant yes that directs the entire force of your being towards a single magnificent purpose. We celebrate this yes. We write it on our walls and repeat it in our hearts. But a yes, no matter how passionate, is a fragile and vulnerable thing if it is left unprotected. A yes, without the fierce guardianship of a powerful no, is a seed planted in an open field, susceptible to every passing distraction, every wandering desire, and every well-intentioned request that would pull it from its sacred ground. We have been taught to be agreeable, to be accommodating, to say yes as a marker of our kindness and ambition. But in the architecture of a masterful life, the forgotten and perhaps more crucial art is the art of refusal. The sovereignty of no is the silent, unyielding gatekeeper of your great and glorious yes. Our difficulty with this simple two-letter word is profound and deeply rooted. We are afraid to say number. We fear that it will lead to disappointment, that it will be interpreted as rejection, that it will cause conflict or make us seem selfish. We fear that in saying no to an opportunity, we might miss out on some unforeseen jackpot. And so, out of this cocktail of fear and guilt, we say yes when our soul is screaming number. We say yes to the project we have no passion for, yes to the social event that will drain our energy, yes to the request that serves someone else's agenda at the direct expense of our own. Each of these reluctant affirmations is a small act of self-betrayal. It is a form of energetic treason. You are consciously giving away your three most precious and non-renewable resources: your time, your focus, and your creative energy to ventures that are not aligned with your highest purpose. A life built on 1,000 scattered and obligatory yeses will be a scattered and obligatory life. But a life built on one great central yes, protected and fortified by 1,000 strategic and unwavering no's, will be a life of immense power and singular accomplishment. Let us return to the sculptor's studio, where the angel is slowly being liberated from the formless block of marble. We have celebrated the sculptor's vision, his unique ability to see the perfect form within the stone. We have celebrated his active yes to that vision, but his true, unspoken genius lies not only in knowing where to strike the stone with his chisel. His even greater genius, the mark of his mastery, lies in knowing with absolute certainty where not to strike. Every single piece of marble that is not the angel must be chipped away. This requires courage and action, but equally, every single piece of marble that is a part of the angel's final form must be preserved with a sacred and ferocious vigilance. The sculptor understands that one careless chip, one misplaced strike in a moment of distraction, could shatter a wing, scar a delicate face, or compromise the integrity of the entire piece forever. Every external request that comes your way, every invitation, every new idea, every good opportunity is an invitation for the sculptor to strike the stone. The sovereign no is the master's discerning eye and steady hand staying the hammer. It is the quiet, internal wisdom that declares, "This strike does not serve the angel. This action, while perhaps good in itself, does not align with the perfect form I am committed to revealing." Each no is therefore not a negative act of rejection. It is a profoundly positive act of preservation. It is a declaration of devotion to the unseen vision. It is the sacred boundary that protects the masterpiece from the well-intentioned chisels of the world. Saying no is not about shutting the world out. It is about keeping your creative space pure so that you have something of true value to offer back to the world. A half-finished, compromised sculpture serves no one. A completed masterpiece can inspire millions. This is the operational secret of the world's most effective and creative people. If you were to examine their lives, you would find they are not the people who do the most things. They are the people who have the courage to say no to the most things. The world constantly presents them with an endless buffet of good opportunities, tempting projects and flattering invitations. But they have cultivated the discipline to refuse the good in order to preserve their finite energy for the pursuit of the great their one central mission. Their calendars are often surprisingly empty. Their commitments are few but deep. Their lives are often models of elegant simplicity. This is not because they are lazy or unambitious. It is because they are ruthless eliminators of the non-essential. They understand that every yes comes at a cost, not just in hours on a schedule, but in the precious, invisible currency of mental bandwidth and focused attention. Their power comes not from the frenetic energy of what they add to their lives, but from the quiet, strategic wisdom of what they subtract. Their no is the sharpest tool they possess for carving out the silent, uncluttered space that genius requires in order to flourish. The art of delivering this sovereign no is one of grace and quiet strength. It does not need to be aggressive, rude, or defensive. In fact, a no that is born of anger or resentment is still a reaction, still an energetic entanglement. The most powerful no is calm, firm, and rooted in the peace of your own internal alignment. It does not require a lengthy, convoluted excuse or a detailed justification. The need to over-explain your no is a sign that you are not yet comfortable with your own authority. A simple, clear, and respectful statement is all that is required. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity, but I will have to decline. I appreciate you thinking of me, but my focus is completely dedicated to my primary project at this time. That sounds like a worthy goal, but it does not align with my current priorities. When your no comes from a place of deep, unwavering clarity about your own great yes, it is no longer a personal conflict. It is simply an act of integrity, as natural and impersonal as a river flowing along its established course. Take a moment now to become the sculptor of your own life. Look at the commitments that currently fill your days. Examine your calendar, your to-do list, the unanswered requests sitting in your inbox. Hold each one up to the light of your highest vision. Ask yourself with radical honesty, is this commitment a part of the angel I am trying to create, or is it merely a piece of excess stone? Does saying yes to this infuse me with energy and move me closer to my purpose, or does it simply drain the vitality I need for my true work? Notice, without judgment, the obligations you have accepted out of guilt. See the projects you have taken on out of a fear of missing out. You do not need to take immediate, drastic action. The first and most powerful step is simply to see the truth, to become aware of where you have allowed your masterpiece to be compromised, and then, for just one day, practice the art of refusal in a small way. Say no to one minor request you would normally accept out of habit. Feel the space that refusal opens up. Feel the flicker of freedom, the return of energy. That small, quiet space is the raw material of your new life. Your no is one of the most creative, positive, and life-affirming words you can ever speak. It is the guardian at the gate of your attention. It is the protector of your sacred energy. It is the sharp sword of discernment that clears the path before you, so your great yes can stride forward unimpeded. To become a master of your life, you must first become a master of refusal. Your existence is a precious, uncarved block of marble. Within it sleeps a magnificent form, a destiny that only you can reveal. Your great, soul-deep yes is your vision of that finished masterpiece. Your quiet, firm, and sovereign no is the discerning eye and the steady hand of the master sculptor, protecting that perfect form from every misguided chisel and every careless strike. Do not be afraid to wield it. For every single time you say no to the trivial, the distracting, and the non-essential, you are saying a louder, clearer, and more thunderous yes to your own magnificent destiny. In our modern world's relentless pursuit of more, we have come to worship at the altar of busyness. We have forged a culture that equates a full calendar with a full life and an exhausted body with a productive day. We wear our lack of sleep like a bizarre badge of honor and view moments of stillness as a form of weakness, a character flaw, or an opportunity squandered. We are addicted to motion, to the constant hum of doing, believing that it is the only path to building the life we desire. But the great creators, the wise architects of reality, understand a deeper and more cosmic rhythm. They know that the most crucial phase of creation does not happen in the frantic, visible action, but in the strategic and sacred stillness that follows. They know that a bountiful life is not built in the ceaseless hustle, it is conceived in the holy hush. Our society glorifies the masculine energy of action, the pushing, the striving, the building, the doing. This energy is vital. It is the force that plants the seed and erects the scaffolding. But we have forgotten its divine and equal counterpart, the feminine energy of reception, the energy of stillness, of waiting, of allowing. This is the energy in which the seed, once planted, is allowed to germinate. It is the energy in which the structure, once built, is allowed to settle and become a home. Your conscious, focused, working mind is the masculine force, but it is during periods of deep rest, of dream-filled sleep, of meditative silence, that the profound, receptive, feminine power of the subconscious mind takes over. This is when the true magic happens. This is when the disparate ideas you gathered during the day are connected into a brilliant new insight. This is when the complex problem you wrestled with is presented with an elegant and simple solution. Constant action is like constantly talking. If you are always talking, you can never hear the answer being whispered to you. Rest is the sacred act of becoming a listener. It is not an empty pause. It is a state of profound and active reception. To grasp this essential law of creation, we must look to the ancient wisdom of the farmer, whose very livelihood depends on a deep, intuitive understanding of these natural rhythms. After a season of planting, tending, and gathering a bountiful harvest, the wise farmer does not immediately rush to plow the same field and force another crop from it. He knows that to do so would be a short-sighted and fatal error. A foolish farmer, driven by the frantic energy of greed and impatience, would try to exploit the soil, demanding more and more from it without pause. For a short time he might succeed, but soon his harvests would diminish. The plants would grow weak, the soil would turn to dust, and eventually the once fertile field would become a barren wasteland, incapable of producing anything at all. He would have killed the source of his own abundance through his lack of respect for the cycle of rest. The wise farmer, on the other hand, performs an act that looks to the untrained eye like laziness or neglect. He designates that hard-working field to lie fallow for a season. He lets it be. He does not plant. He does not till. He does not demand anything from it. From the outside, the field appears unproductive, empty, and useless. But the farmer knows that a deep and mysterious alchemy is taking place beneath the surface. He knows that this fallow season is as crucial to his wealth as the planting season. During this period of apparent inactivity, the soil is replenishing its vital nutrients. Microorganisms are regenerating its complex structure. The earthworms are aerating it, making it soft and receptive once more. The very life force of the ground is being restored, recharged, and renewed. The farmer honors this holy rhythm of rest with patience and with faith, knowing that the richness of all his future harvests is being determined not in the frantic work, but in the quiet, trusting stillness of the fallow ground. You are not a machine. You are a garden. Your mind, your body, and your spirit are the sacred soil from which the harvest of your entire reality grows, and you cannot violate the law of the fallow season without consequence. This is the truth that the hustle culture has tragically forgotten. The state of burnout, which has become an epidemic in our time, is not a badge of honor. It is the cry of a soul whose fields have been overworked to the point of barrenness. The solution is not another productivity hack. The solution is to have the wisdom of the farmer and to honor the rhythm of rest. The most successful and sustainable creators are masters of this. Contrary to the myth, they are not working 24 hours a day. They are masters of strategic disengagement. They build non-negotiable periods of rest, of play, of deep sleep, and of quiet contemplation into the very fabric of their lives. They schedule a vacation not as an escape, but as a strategic investment in their own creative soil. They take a walk in nature, not as a break from their work, but as an essential part of their work. They understand that sleep is not a luxury for the lazy. It is a high-performance tool for mental and spiritual regeneration. They know that meditation is not an esoteric hobby. It is a direct deposit into their account of clarity, intuition, and genius. Why then do we resist this so fiercely? We are addicted to busyness because it is a powerful anesthetic. It allows us to outrun the feelings of anxiety or the deep, uncomfortable questions about whether we are truly on the right path. As long as we are moving, as long as our calendar is full, we can create the illusion of progress. We can avoid the profound silence where we might have to confront our own soul. To be still is to be alone with ourselves, and for many, that is the most frightening prospect of all. The endless to-do list becomes a shield, protecting us from the vast, intimidating space of our own inner being. We must have the courage to put down the shield, to stop the frantic motion, and to understand that exhaustion is not a status symbol. It is the warning light on the dashboard of your life. signaling that your soil is becoming barren. True productivity is not about how much you do. It is about the resonance and quality of what you do. And that quality is born only from a well-rested spirit. I invite you now to become a wise farmer of your own energy. This week, schedule a period of fallow time into your calendar. Treat this appointment with the same seriousness and respect you would give to your most important business meeting. It could be 30 minutes each morning, before you touch any technology, to simply sit with a cup of tea and watch the day begin. It could be a 20-minute walk in the middle of the day, with no phone and no podcast, your only goal being to notice the feeling of the air and the sights around you. It could be a complete digital Sabbath, a period of several hours where you deliberately unplug from the endless stream of information and allow your mind to be empty. During this time, your only task is to be gloriously unproductive. Your only goal is to have no goal. Notice the mind's rebellion. Notice the twitchy urge to just check your email, to fill the silence with some form of distraction. Your ability to gently notice this urge and then consciously choose the stillness is the practice. You are letting your field regenerate. You are honoring the rhythm. True wealth, true creativity, and true power are not born from a linear, brute force assault on your goals. They are born from a rhythmic dance between doing and being, between speaking and listening, between the masculine energy of action and the feminine energy of rest. To honor this rhythm is to align yourself with the very creative pulse of the universe itself. Stop treating your need for rest as a weakness to be overcome. See it for what it is, a sacred and non-negotiable part of your creative genius. You are the soil, and it is in the quiet, fallow seasons of your life, when it seems to the outside world like nothing at all is happening, that the deepest magic is at work beneath the surface, preparing the ground for a future harvest more magnificent and more abundant than you can yet imagine. There is a soft and gauzy veil that hangs between our consciousness and the stark reality of what is. It is a filter woven from the delicate threads of our hopes, our fears, and the ego's desperate, lifelong campaign for self-preservation. We spend most of our lives looking through this veil, seeing not the world as it is, but a curated version that is more comfortable, less threatening, and more aligned with the story we like to tell about ourselves. But to build an empire, whether it be an inner empire of unshakable peace or an outer empire of vast fortune, you must summon the courage to do what most people will never do. You must be willing to reach up, take hold of that veil with both hands, and tear it down. You must be willing to conduct a fearless, unflinching, and radical audit of your life. For you can never change a reality that you refuse to first acknowledge. Radical honesty is the sober, steady, and unblinking gaze upon the truth, no matter how inconvenient that truth may be. It is the practice of seeing what is without the immediate, distorting filter of blame, justification, or despair. This practice must be applied to two realms, the outer world of facts and figures and the inner world of thoughts and behaviors. In the external world, it means looking at the numbers on the balance sheet, the key performance indicators, the customer feedback reports, not for what you hope they might be, but for what they actually are. It is the courage to admit that a product is not selling, that a strategy is failing, that the market has shifted. In the internal world, this honesty is even more confronting. It means having the strength to acknowledge your own weaknesses, your patterns of procrastination, your limiting beliefs, and your emotional triggers, not with the harsh whip of self-flagellation, but with the neutral, compassionate curiosity of a scientist. You cannot heal a wound you pretend doesn't exist. You cannot fix a fatal flaw in a business model you refuse to see. The truth, in its raw and unvarnished form, is the non-negotiable starting point for all genuine transformation. To understand this principle's power, imagine a great captain at the helm of a majestic ship. Her clear destination, her North Star, is the distant shore of abundance. She has a magnificent vessel, a well-trained crew, and a powerful, inspiring vision. But there are two instruments on the bridge of her ship that are more critical to her success than any other: the sea chart, which is the map of objective reality, and the compass, which is the indicator of her present course. These are her instruments of truth. For weeks, she sails with confidence. But then, after a series of storms and strange currents, she begins to feel a subtle sense of doubt. The coastline doesn't look quite right. The stars seem slightly out of place. She suspects she may be off course. Now, a foolish captain, a captain whose ego is deeply entangled with the idea of being a perfect and infallible navigator, would react with fear. He would fear the data. What if the compass confirms his fear and shows he is heading west instead of north? What if the sea chart reveals treacherous, ship-shattering reefs directly in his path? Fearing this indictment of his skill, this foolish captain might choose to ignore his instruments. He might even smash them in a fit of rage. He would try to navigate by wishful thinking and bravado, insisting to his nervous crew that everything is fine, all while sailing further and further into peril. The wise captain, the true master of her reality, does the exact opposite. She actively seeks out the truth, especially when she suspects it might be bad news. She walks to the navigation table and looks at the compass and the chart, not as judges of her worth, but as her most trusted, impersonal allies. When the instruments show her that she is, in fact, dangerously off course, she does not feel shame. She feels gratitude. The data you are 100 miles south of your intended position is not a condemnation, it is a gift. It is pure, unemotional information that now allows her to make a new, intelligent, course-correcting decision. She thanks the compass for its brutal honesty. She calmly orders the rudder to be turned, and she continues on her journey, now wiser, stronger, and more precisely aligned with her destination than ever before. This is the operational mindset of the great builders, leaders, and creators. They are not afraid of the truth. They are obsessed with it. They build complex systems in their organizations, feedback loops, surveys, data analytics, for the sole purpose of getting the unvarnished truth back from the world as quickly as possible. They want to know what their customers really think, not what their employees think their customers think. They study their financial statements with the detached, analytical gaze of the wise captain, looking for the reefs and the wrong currents. They are not afraid of bad news because they understand that bad news is simply an early warning system, a priceless gift that allows them to make small, easy corrections now, instead of facing a catastrophic shipwreck later. And on a personal level, they apply this same ruthless audit to themselves. They know their own strengths, and they leverage them. They know their own weaknesses, and they either improve them or hire others to compensate for them. They do not make excuses. They do not blame the weather. They take absolute, 100% ownership of the ship's position. This fearless and intimate relationship with the truth is the secret to their uncanny ability to navigate the violent storms of life and business with such apparent grace and mastery. Why is this so profoundly difficult for the average person? Because the ego's primary directive is self-preservation. It is a storyteller. It constructs a narrative about who we are. I am a smart and capable person. I am a good provider. I always make good decisions, and it will defend this story to the death. Any piece of data, any fact that contradicts this cherished narrative is perceived not as helpful information, but as a direct attack on our very identity. This is why we rationalize our failures. This is why we blame the economy, we blame our partners, we blame our childhood, we blame a lack of luck. These are all defense mechanisms of a fragile ego, desperately trying to protect its fictional story. The practice of radical honesty requires a fundamental shift in your own identity. You must shift from believing "I am the story" to knowing I am the one who is aware of the story. This detachment, this stepping back into the role of the witness, is what gives you the power to calmly set aside a story when the data proves it is no longer true, and to write a new one that is more aligned with reality. Let us practice becoming the wise captain for a moment. Choose one area of your life where you feel stuck, where you are not getting the results you truly desire. It could be your finances, your physical health, your business, or a key relationship. Now, find a piece of paper and a pen. On the left side of the page, write down the captain's story. This is the narrative you have been telling yourself. Write down all the excuses, all the justifications, all the blame you have been placing on external factors. Be brutally honest. On the right side of the page, write down the ship's log. This is the pure data, the unemotional facts, the exact number in your bank account, not what you think it should be, the exact number on the scale, the exact number of new clients you have signed in the last 6 months, the exact number of times you have had the same recurring argument. Now, look at both columns. See the soft, gauzy veil of the story on the left, and the hard, clear, crystalline truth of the data on the right. Do not use this as an opportunity to beat yourself up. That is just another trick of the ego. Simply see, acknowledge the gap between your story and your reality. In that moment of pure, judgment-free seeing, something miraculous happens. You have torn the veil. You have just looked at your true position on the map. This acknowledgement is the sound of the ship's anchor being raised from the muddy seafloor. It is the necessary prerequisite for all meaningful forward movement. The truth is not your enemy. It is not your judge. It is your compass, your most reliable and trustworthy guide. The self-deception that feels so comforting in the short term is the very thing that will guarantee your shipwreck in the long term. The path to abundance is not paved with wishful thinking. It is paved with the hard, solid stones of objective reality. Have the courage to look at your true position on the chart. Have the humility to trust your instruments, even when, especially when, they tell you that you are lost. The truth does not harm you. The truth frees you. It frees you from illusion, and it frees you to make a new, better, more intelligent decision. Stop arguing with your compass. Thank it for its unwavering guidance. Take the helm with the firm hand of radical honesty and steer your ship toward the magnificent life that is waiting for you. In our culture, we have been conditioned to see life as a profoundly serious, solemn affair. We approach our goals as a battle to be fought, a struggle to be endured, a complex and weighty problem to be solved. We march towards our ambitions with a grim-faced determination, our shoulders heavy with the crushing importance of our own endeavors. We believe that this seriousness is a sign of our commitment, that the weight we feel is a measure of the significance of our work. But what if this very seriousness is the anchor that chains us to the sea floor? What if this heaviness is the very thing that prevents our spirit from taking flight? What if the universe, in its infinite intelligence, responds not to the furrowed brow of struggle, but to the light heart of play? The secret that the greatest masters of reality understand is this: to achieve a state of genius and to create magnificent things, you must stop treating your life like a war and start treating it like a grand and glorious game. Consider the energetic difference between these two states. The battle mindset is rooted in the ego's fear of failure and its desperate need for validation. It creates tension in the body, constriction in the mind, and anxiety in the heart. When you are in a battle, every setback is a wound, every mistake is a cause for shame, and every outcome is a matter of life and death for your self-worth. Creativity withers in this environment. Intuition is silenced by the screaming demands of the ego. This is a finite game, in the language of the philosophers, where the singular goal is to win, to conquer, to defeat an opponent, and for the game to be over. But the play mindset, or the infinite game, is a different universe entirely. It is rooted in curiosity, creativity, and a spirit of joyful exploration. Its primary goal is not to win, but to continue the delightful process of playing. In a game, setbacks are not failures. They are interesting plot twists. Mistakes are not sources of shame. They are opportunities to learn a new move or discover a hidden level. The heart is open, the mind is relaxed, and the spirit is engaged in the state of flow, where the best work is always done. To see this principle in its purest form, we need only watch a young child on a beach, utterly and completely absorbed in the building of a magnificent sandcastle. Observe the quality of the child's attention. It is total, it is absolute. In that moment, they are a Zen master, a vessel of pure focus. They pour all of their creative genius into the project. They meticulously search for the most beautiful shells to adorn the ramparts. They dig the moat with the intense seriousness of a master engineer. They pat the wet sand into soaring towers with a look of profound concentration. In the world of that child for that hour, the sandcastle is a work of supreme importance, a creation that commands the full force of their being. They are not distracted. They are not half-hearted. They are in a state of serious play. And then, the ocean, in its immutable and impersonal wisdom, sends a great wave surging up the beach. In a matter of seconds, the majestic castle, the product of all that focus and effort, is erased. It is returned to a smooth, wet, glistening patch of sand. All the towers, all the shells, all the moats are gone. Now, watch the child's reaction. There may be a moment of shock, a flicker of sadness, perhaps even a single tear of disappointment. The creation is gone, and that is a small loss to be acknowledged. But then, almost immediately, a remarkable thing happens. The child looks at the blank canvas of the wet sand, a space not of loss, but of new potential. A new idea sparks in their eyes. They might laugh at the sheer power of the wave, at the absurdity of it all. And then, without a second thought, they will kneel down and begin to build again. This time, perhaps, a different castle. A castle with a wider moat, learning from the lesson of the first. Or perhaps not a castle at all, but the shape of a great whale. The key is this: the child's identity was not fused with the sandcastle. The child's identity was fused with the joy of building. The wave did not destroy the builder. It only cleared the slate for a new, fresh act of creation. This is the spirit of the greatest innovators, entrepreneurs, and artists. They approach their life's work with the same paradoxical quality of serious play. They are deeply, passionately, and completely committed to building their sandcastles, their businesses, their technologies, their fortunes. They pour their heart and soul into the work, but somewhere in the back of their mind, they maintain a sliver of cosmic perspective. They remember that they are playing a grand and beautiful game on the shores of eternity. This playful attitude, this lightness of being, is their secret weapon. It is what allows them to take the huge, audacious risks that are necessary for huge, world-changing rewards. They are not afraid of the wave, and so they build magnificent things. It is what allows them to pivot, to change strategy, or even to abandon a multi-million-dollar projector wave washing away their castle without being personally shattered by it. They do not see it as a reflection of their worthlessness as a builder. They see it as the game presenting a new, more interesting challenge. This lightness, this lack of grim, egoic seriousness, is what keeps their creative channels open, their spirits resilient, and allows them to joyfully bounce back from setbacks that would utterly drown a more rigid, battle-minded person. The energy of seriousness, on the other hand, is the great killer of creativity. When we take ourselves and our work too seriously, we become energetically heavy. We become brittle. We fear looking foolish, so we stop experimenting with wild ideas. We fear making mistakes, so we stick to the safe, predictable, and uninspired path. We fear failure, so we play not to win, but to not lose. Our work becomes tight, controlled, and mediocre. Think of seriousness as a kind of energetic arthritis, a painful stiffness in the joints of your imagination. Playfulness is the lubricant. It allows for fluid movement, for surprising connections, for novel approaches, for laughter in the face of the absurd. True genius, from Einstein to Mozart to Feynman, has always been characterized by a profound and childlike spirit of play. Let us practice transmuting the energy of battle into the energy of play. Bring to mind your most important goal, your most serious project. Feel the weight of it in your body. Feel the pressure to get it right, the fear of getting it wrong. Acknowledge this heaviness. Now, with a conscious act of your imagination, reframe the entire scenario. Imagine that you are a divine being who has chosen to inhabit a character in a vast, interactive, and beautifully designed game. This goal is not a matter of life and death. It is your character's current quest. It is a fascinating, challenging puzzle designed by a master game developer for your entertainment and for your growth. How does that energetic shift feel in your body? Lighter? More spacious? From this new perspective of the player, what new moves could you try? What secret paths could you explore if you were not so afraid of losing? For one single day, make a pact to approach every task, from answering an email to negotiating a contract, with this spirit of play. See problems not as threats, but as puzzles. See setbacks not as failures, but as bonus rounds for learning. See your successes not as validations of your worth, but as high scores in a game you love to play. Just for one day, lighten up. The universe itself is fundamentally playful. The creation of stars, the unfurling of galaxies, the dance of life on this planet is all an act of exuberant, joyful, and spontaneous expression. It is a grand game with no ultimate purpose other than the joy of the playing itself. To align with this immense creative force, we must learn to adopt its spirit. Seriousness is the frequency of the ego, which is terrified of its own demise. Playfulness is the frequency of the soul, which knows that it is eternal and cannot be harmed. Your great work, your business, your family, your fortunite, is your magnificent and temporary sandcastle on the shores of eternity. Build it with every ounce of passion, focus, and love in your heart. Make it the most beautiful castle the world has ever seen. But never forget that you are not the castle. You are the joyful builder. And when the great waves of change and time inevitably come, as they always must, you will be able to stand, take a deep breath, smile at the beautiful impermanence of it all, and with the infinite, wet sand of the universe before you, feel the thrill of beginning to build again. For centuries, our culture has championed the cold, hard logic of the rational mind as the sole arbiter of truth. We have been taught that intelligence resides exclusively behind our eyes and between our ears, a disembodied process of thought and analysis. We have come to view the body as little more than a vehicle, a machine of flesh and bone to be fueled, maintained, and commanded by the superior intellect of the brain. We are taught to silence its complaints with medicine, to override its fatigue with caffeine, and to ignore its subtle whispers in favor of the loud pronouncements of our thoughts. But this is a profound and costly error, a great schism that has disconnected us from a deeper and more ancient form of wisdom. Your body is not a mindless vehicle. It is a living, breathing, exquisitely sensitive barometer of truth. It is an instrument of immense intelligence that is constantly speaking to you in its own language. And to learn that language is to gain access to a guidance system far older and more reliable than reason itself. This is the realm of somatic intelligence. The body knows. It does not think in the linear, word-based way your brain does, but it holds a deep, cellular, and holistic knowing. The expressions we use in our daily language are echoes of this forgotten truth. We speak of a gut feeling, of a heavy heart, of someone giving us the chills, or of a decision that makes our stomach turn. These are not mere metaphors. They are literal descriptions of the body processing vast amounts of data that lie below the threshold of conscious thought. Your enteric nervous system, the complex web of neurons lining your gut, is so vast that it is often called our second brain. It is constantly sensing the world, assessing situations and people for their energetic congruence with your own being. That tightness in your chest, that sudden drop in your energy, that inexplicable feeling of lightness and expansion when you meet a certain person or consider a certain path. These are not random, meaningless physical events. They are highly refined data points from your inner guidance system. Your body is constantly telling you what is true for you, what is safe for you, and what is aligned with your deepest purpose. The only question is whether you are willing to listen. To understand this innate capacity, consider the animals in a forest just before a great storm rolls in, or the birds in the sky just before an earthquake. Long before the sky darkens, before the first tremor is felt by any human instrument, the animals know what is coming. The birds will fall silent and take to the sky in great numbers. The deer and other forest creatures will become still, watchful, and seek shelter. They do not have access to a 24-hour news channel or a meteorological satellite. They are not thinking or analyzing the situation with their rational minds. So how do they know? They feel it. Their entire beings are sophisticated, biological barometers, exquisitely tuned to the subtle language of the earth and the sky. They can feel the minute shift in the atmospheric pressure in their bones. They can sense the change in the electromagnetic charge of the air through their skin. They trust this physical, somatic knowing implicitly. Their survival depends not on their ability to think, but on their ability to feel the truth of the environment and to act on that feeling without hesitation. We, as human animals, are born with this very same instrument, this same innate biological wisdom. But over centuries of exalting the rational mind, we have been trained to distrust it, to belittle it, and to ignore its signals. When your gut tightens at the thought of a business deal that seems perfect on paper, your logical mind immediately jumps in to say, "Don't be silly, the numbers are great, you're just being nervous." When you feel a sense of deadness and depletion every time you walk into your office, your intellect tells you, "This is a secure job with good benefits, you should be grateful." We have learned to allow the limited logic of the conscious mind to systematically override the holistic wisdom of the body, and this is the source of so much of our confusion, our poor decisions, and our dis-ease. To reclaim your power as a creator, you must learn to honor both forms of intelligence. You must do the analysis, yes, but then you must bring the conclusion of that analysis to the high court of your body's wisdom for the final verdict. The most masterful leaders and creators, while being brilliant logical thinkers, have a deep and abiding reverence for this gut-level intelligence. They have learned through long experience that their intuition, their somatic sense of things, is often their most valuable asset. When considering a major hire, after reviewing the perfect resume and conducting the flawless interview, they will check in with their internal barometer. They will ask themselves, "How did my body feel in this person's presence? Did I feel my energy expand or contract? Did I feel open and energized, or did I feel a subtle sense of needing to be on guard?" When contemplating a major investment or acquisition, after all the due diligence is complete and the spreadsheets have been analyzed to death, they will perform one final check. They will sit quietly and hold the venture in their mind and feel for its energetic signature. Does this path feel light, exciting, and resonant? Or does it carry a strange and inexplicable heaviness, a feeling like walking through mud? They have learned that this final somatic piece of data is often more predictive of future success than any financial projection. They have the courage to trust their bodies' yes, even when it seems illogical, and to heed their bodies' no, even when it means walking away from a seemingly golden opportunity. You can relearn this language. It is your birthright. The practice begins with creating small, quiet moments throughout your day to consciously move your attention out of the chaotic traffic of your thoughts and down into the deep, quiet temple of your body. It is the practice of asking, "What am I feeling right now, physically?" and then listening without judgment. Learning to distinguish between the various signals is key. The voice of fear, for example, often feels like a tight, high-frequency, chattering vibration in the upper chest and throat. The voice of true, deep intuition, however, often speaks in a much quieter, calmer, and more solid way. It is a deep knowing that resides in the center of your being, in your gut or your heart space. You can learn to identify the physical sensation of alignment versus misalignment. For most people, alignment, the body's yes, feels like some form of expansion, a sense of opening, lightness, warmth, a desire to lean forward. Misalignment, the body's no, feels like some form of contraction, a sense of clenching, tightness, coldness, heaviness, a desire to pull back or shield oneself. This is the simple binary language of your inner oracle. Expansion is go, contraction is no. Let us practice reading the barometer right now. Think of a decision you are currently facing. You have likely been turning it over and over in your mind, making pro and con lists, seeking the logical answer. For a moment, let all of that mental activity go. Close your eyes, take 3 slow, deep breaths, and with each exhale, allow your awareness to drop out of your head and down into the core of your body. Settle your attention in the area of your chest and your stomach. Now, bring to mind the first option, the first path you could take. Do not analyze it. Simply hold the image of it and its potential outcome in your mind. And just notice, what is the very first physical sensation that arises? Is there a subtle leaning forward, an opening in your chest, a feeling of lightness? Or is there a faint knot in your stomach, a tightening in your shoulders, a sense of dread? There is no need to interpret it. Just notice the raw sensation. Now, clear the screen of your mind. Let it go completely. Take another deep breath. And now bring to mind the second option. Hold it there, and again, just listen to your body's immediate, non-verbal response. Which option felt like expansion? Which one felt like contraction? Your body already knows the answer. It has been whispering it to you all along. You carry within you an instrument more sensitive than any scientific barometer, more sophisticated than any supercomputer. It is the living intelligence of your physical body. It holds the memory of every experience you have ever had, and it has the profound ability to sense the energetic weather of the future long before it arrives on the horizon. Stop trying to figure everything out with only half of your intelligence. Have the courage to be still, to drop your awareness down into your cells, and to listen with humility to the wisdom that does not speak in words. Trust the animal intuition you were born with. It will not lead you astray. In the great journey of your life, your mind can be a valuable map, but your body is the unwavering compass. Learn to trust it. It knows the way home. In our modern civilization's quest for knowledge and control, we have become a culture that is deeply, almost pathologically, obsessed with answers. We seek out gurus, we consume terabytes of data, we buy the books and listen to the podcasts, all in a desperate search for the definitive guide, the final solution, the one correct answer that will solve our problems and unlock the life we desire. But the architects of reality, those who shape worlds both inner and outer, understand a deeper and more subtle secret. the answer is rarely the most powerful thing. The ultimate creative force, the prime mover, the agent of all miraculous transformation, is a potent and well-posed question. The quality of your life is not determined by the answers you find, but by the caliber of the questions you have the courage to ask. Your mind is a supremely powerful super-biological computer. It is designed to solve problems, to find patterns, and to generate answers with astonishing speed and efficiency. But like any computer, it needs a command. It requires a search query. The question you ask is the command you give to the vast, largely untapped processing power of your subconscious mind. It is the task you assign to this tireless servant. And this servant is utterly literal and obedient. It does not judge the question, it only seeks to answer it. Therefore, a disempowering question will, by an immutable law of consciousness, always yield a disempowering answer. If you walk through your life asking, consciously or unconsciously, "Why am I so unlucky?" you have just given your mind a powerful command. It will immediately begin to scan the entire archive of your life experience, searching for every single piece of evidence that confirms your unluckiness. It will present you with a perfectly researched, footnoted and detailed report on all your past failures, all your misfortunes, all your bad breaks, reinforcing the very reality you claim you want to escape. If you ask, "What's wrong with me?" you send your subconscious on a ruthless mission to find all your flaws, your weaknesses, and your inadequacies. If you ask, "Why is this so difficult?" you command your mind to focus on every obstacle, every friction point, and every reason to give up. We are asking ourselves these disempowering questions all day long, often beneath the surface of our awareness. They are the background hum of a life lived in a state of quiet desperation. And then we have the audacity to wonder why our reality feels so heavy, so difficult, and so filled with problems. We are diligently searching for evidence of a miserable reality and then lamenting that we have found it. The first step to reclaiming your power is to become aware of the questions you are currently asking. To truly grasp this, think of reality as a grand palace with an infinite number of rooms. Each room contains a different potential experience, a different level of understanding, a different emotional state, a different world. There is a room of abject misery, a room of quiet contentment, a room of creative genius, and a room of unshakable peace. The doors to all of these rooms are closed and locked. A question is a key. A poorly formed, disempowering question is like a crude, bent piece of wire. You can stand before a door and jiggle the wire in the lock all day long. You can scrape and you can struggle, but the door will not open. The question, "Why is my life so hard?" is this bent wire. It doesn't open anything. It only serves to remind you that you are standing outside a locked door. A powerful, well-formed, empowering question, on the other hand, is like a master key, cut by a master locksmith with exquisite and loving precision. It is designed to slide perfectly into a specific lock that you were previously unaware even existed. Consider the question that arises in the face of adversity. Why me? This is the key of victimhood. It unlocks nothing but the cold, damp room of self-pity, a room where you can sit and rehearse your grievances forever. But what if, in that same moment of adversity, you choose to forge a different key? What if you ask, "What is this situation uniquely preparing me for?" Or, "What hidden opportunity does this challenge make possible?" This is a creator's key. The moment you sincerely ask this new question, you turn away from the door of self-pity and you find yourself standing before a new door, the room of purpose. Your new question slides into the lock, it turns with a satisfying click, and the door swings open. Inside, you find a reality that was completely invisible and inaccessible just moments before. In this room, you find the answers of resilience, of innovation, of strength, of post-traumatic growth. The answers were always there, patiently waiting behind the door. The question was the key that granted you access. This is the cognitive habit of the great innovators, leaders, and builders. They are master question askers. They do not passively accept reality as it is presented. They interrogate it with powerful, generative questions. When faced with an industry standard that everyone else accepts, they do not ask, "How can we do this better?" They ask, "What if we did the exact opposite? What if we eliminated this feature entirely? What fundamental assumption are we all making that might no longer be true?" When faced with a roadblock, they do not ask, "Why is this impossible?" They ask, "Assuming this were possible, what would be the first step?" Or, "How might we turn this obstacle into our greatest advantage?" These questions, what if, how might we, what would it look like if this were easy, are generative keys. They command the mind to stop fixating on the problem and to start exploring the infinite palace of solutions. The vast wealth and impact they create are often a direct result, not of the answers they found, but of the audacious and beautifully framed questions they dared to ask in the first place. The practice then becomes one of shifting from victim questions to creator questions. A victim question is typically passive, backward-looking, and focused on the problem. Why me? Who is to blame? When will this be over? What did I do to deserve this? These questions lock you into a state of powerlessness. They anchor you in the past and position you as an effect rather than a cause. A creator question is active, forward-looking, and focused on the potential. What can I learn from this? How can I use this? What is the gift in this situation? What is the next smallest step I can take right now? What new strengths is this challenge forcing me to develop? Shifting from asking a victim question to a creator question is one of the most immediate and powerful ways to alter your reality. In the instant you ask a better question, you change your entire emotional and neurological state. You cease to be a passive object to which things happen, and you become an active subject, a creative force capable of transforming any circumstance into fuel for your own growth. Let us practice forging a new key right now. Bring to your mind a challenge that you are currently wrestling with, a situation that feels stuck or painful. Now, for a moment, become aware of the question you have been unconsciously asking about it. Is it a version of, "Why is this happening?" Or, "When will this end?" Or, "Whose fault is this?" Acknowledge this old bent key without judgment. It has served its purpose. Now, let it go. Let us craft a new key, a creator's key. From the list of creator questions, choose one that feels most resonant. Perhaps it is, what is the most useful thing this challenge is teaching me about myself? Hold this new question in your mind. Ask it sincerely. Feel the immediate shift in your body and your energy. The tension in your shoulders might lessen. Your mind, now given a creative and fascinating task, instead of an old complaint to rehearse, might begin to quiet down and get to work in a new, more productive way. You have not solved the problem yet, but you have just unlocked the door to the room where the solution lives. You are the question asker. You are the holder of the keys. The quality of your life is not a reflection of the answers you have been given, but a direct reflection of the quality of the questions you have been asking. If you want to change your life, you do not need new answers. You need new questions. The answers to every problem you will ever face, the solutions to every challenge, and the path to the life you dream of, they all already exist. They are simply waiting for you, patiently, behind locked doors. Stop rattling the door knobs of reality with the useless bent keys of blame and despair. Become a master locksmith of your own consciousness. Craft your questions with care, with curiosity, and with courage. Do this, and you will find that you already hold in your hand the power to unlock any door, any reality, and any world you wish to enter. In a world that worships effortless success and polishes every victory for public display, There is no greater perceived shame than the experience of failure. We are taught from our earliest days to fear it, to avoid it at all costs, and to hide it in the shadows of our personal history when it inevitably occurs. We have made failure the antithesis of success, the final verdict on a flawed idea or a flawed person, the dead end of a promising road. But this is a profound and debilitating lie, a cultural narrative that has crippled more potential than any single setback ever could. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is an essential, non-negotiable, and deeply sacred part of the process of success. It is the raw material from which all great achievements are built. It is the crucible in which the unbreakable core of your character is forged. We must first redefine what failure truly is. Failure is not an identity. You are never a failure. You are a being who has had an experience of failure. It is an event, not a person. It is simply an outcome that differed from the one you desired or expected. That is all. When you strip away the heavy, dramatic story that your ego immediately attaches to it, what remains is pure, clean, and invaluable data. It is feedback. It is a clear message from reality, a loving, albeit sometimes painful, lesson from the universe. The feedback is telling you that your approach was flawed, that your strategy was weak, that your assumptions were incorrect, or that your timing was off. The pain of failure comes not from the event itself, but from the toxic narrative we weave around it. This means I am worthless. This proves I don't have what it takes. I will never recover from this. True resilience, the kind that builds empires and forges legends, is the cultivated ability to separate the event from the story. It is the skill of harvesting the priceless data from the experience without being poisoned by the ego's drama. To truly understand this transformative relationship with hardship, imagine a master blacksmith in her forge. She takes a piece of raw, shapeless pig iron. It is soft, brittle, full of impurities, and of little practical use. Her goal is to create a legendary sword blade that is not only razor-sharp, but also flexible, resilient, and utterly unbreakable. Does she achieve this by protecting the iron, by keeping it in a safe, comfortable, temperature-controlled environment? Of course not. The blacksmith knows that the path to invincibility lies only through the terrifying trial by fire and by force. She begins by thrusting the raw iron into the hottest part of the furnace, into a crucible of searing, transformative heat that would vaporize lesser materials. This is your great challenge. Your business collapse, your devastating rejection. The fire softens the metal, makes it malleable, and begins to burn away the grossest of its impurities. Then, when the iron is glowing with a white-hot intensity, she pulls it from the flames and places it upon the great, solid anvil. She raises a heavy, powerful hammer high above her head, and with immense force, she begins to strike it, again and again and again. Each thunderous blow sends a shower of brilliant sparks flying into the darkness of the forge. This is the pain of the setback, the impact of the loss, the sting of the humiliation. To the iron, if it could feel, this process must seem like a violent, chaotic, and meaningless assault. But the blacksmith is not punishing the iron. She is loving it. She is transforming it. She is tempering it. With each cycle of fire and hammer, the very molecular structure of the metal is being compressed, realigned, and purified. The hidden weaknesses are being beaten out of it. The soft, raw material is slowly, painfully, but surely being forged into magnificent, resilient, high-carbon steel. This is the untold story, the secret biography of every great achiever who has ever walked this earth. We see the finished sword gleaming in the light of success, and we foolishly believe it was born that way. We do not see the fire. We do not hear the hammer. We do not witness the countless times it was heated and beaten and plunged into the shocking cold, a process that would have shattered an ordinary piece of metal. The journeys of the most successful individuals are not graceful, upward arcs of unbroken victory. They are epics of massive failure, of crushing setbacks, of public humiliation, and of private despair. They have all been through the forge. The crucial difference lies in their relationship to the process. They did not interpret the fire as a sign that they were unworthy. They did not see the hammer as a cosmic punishment. They understood, consciously or unconsciously, that they were being forged. They surrendered to the painful, transformative process, knowing that each failure was burning away an impurity, a bad idea, a weak strategy, a pocket of their own arrogance seemed, that each blow was strengthening their resolve. Their eventual spectacular success was not achieved in spite of their failures. It was achieved as a direct result of the wisdom, the character, and the unbreakable strength they were forced to extract from them. They are not successful because they never failed. They are successful because they were willing to be put in the fire more often than anyone else. In the immediate aftermath of a failure, a setback, a hammer blow, you stand at a crossroads of consciousness. This is the moment of your greatest power. One path, the path of the brittle iron, is to identify with the brokenness. It is to look at your shattered state and conclude, this is who I am now. I am broken. This path leads to a lifetime of resentment, of fear, of playing small, of allowing the memory of the hammer to dictate the rest of your life. But there is another path. It is the path of the steel. It is the path of surrendering to the forge. It is the choice to feel the pain, to harvest the lesson, and to willingly say to the universe, again. It is the courage to climb back onto the anvil, knowing that the process is not designed to destroy you, but to complete you. Resilience is not the ability to avoid the hammer. It is not the absence of pain. It is the speed of your recovery. It is how quickly you can get back on the anvil after a heavy blow, ready to be made stronger. Let us reforge a piece of your own past right now. Bring to mind a failure from your life that still carries the sting of pain or the whisper of shame. A business that did not succeed, a goal you did not reach, a moment you were not your best self. Allow yourself for a moment to feel the echo of that pain. Acknowledge the heat of that fire and the impact of that hammer. It was real. Now, adopt the perspective of the master blacksmith, observing the process with wisdom and love. Look at that event not as a final judgment, but as one crucial step in a long and sacred forging process. Ask yourself, with genuine curiosity, what impurity was burned out of me in that fire? Was it a foolish assumption? Was it an ounce of arrogance? Was it a dangerous naivety? What weakness in my character or my approach was mercifully beaten out of me by that hammer? And most importantly, what new layer of resilient, flexible steel was created in me because of that exact experience? What did I learn? How did I grow? See that event not as a scar that weakens you, but as a tempering mark, a place where the very substance of your character was refined, strengthened, and made more beautiful. Your challenges are not sent to break you. They are sent to forge you. The universe is not your adversary. It is your blacksmith. It knows the legendary sword that you are capable of becoming, and it will send you the precise fire and the precise hammer you need to bring that form into being. Your so-called failures are not the verdict on your potential. They are the curriculum of your soul's greatest classroom. In every moment of trial, you have a choice: to be the brittle iron that complains of the heat and shatters under the blow, or to be the evolving steel that surrenders to the process, knowing it is being transformed into a blade of legendary strength and purpose. Do not pray to be spared from the fire. Pray for the courage to withstand the heat. Do not ask to be shielded from the hammer. Ask for the wisdom to understand its purifying purpose. Your greatest challenges are the universe's highest compliment. They are a sign that you are on the sacred path of mastery, the path of the blacksmith's forge. Embrace the fire. It is forging your unbreakable core. We have journeyed together through the vast and intricate landscape of the creative mind. We have explored the inner architecture of abundance, from the silent power of thought to the alchemical magic of resilience. We have discussed the blueprints for focus, the mechanics of manifestation, and the courage required to build a world in alignment with your deepest vision. We have, in essence, laid out a path to building an empire in the outer world. But now, as our journey nears its destination, we arrive at the final chamber, the quiet, sunlit sanctuary at the very heart of the temple. Here, we must confront the ultimate purpose of this grand and challenging endeavor. What is the final legacy? What is the ultimate creation for which all this striving has been but a preparation? The answer is the most important secret of all. The final masterpiece you are here to build is not the business, it is not the bank account, it is not the real estate portfolio or the public acclaim. The ultimate, supreme, and most valuable creation of your entire life is yourself. This is a truth that is often lost in the noise of ambition. We come to believe that the outer world is the primary reality, and our inner world is merely a tool to manipulate it. We see our projects, our ventures, and our goals as the end-all and be-all. But the wisdom of the ages teaches us the reverse. The outer world, with all its challenges and triumphs, is merely the training ground. It is the gymnasium, the company you are building, the fortune you are amassing, the career you are forging. These are not the point. They are the extraordinarily beautiful and sophisticated pieces of gym equipment that the universe has provided for the strengthening and evolution of your soul. The real work is not the launching of the product, it is the cultivation of courage and resilience through the act of launching the product. The real work is not the navigating of a complex negotiation, it is the development of patience and wisdom through the process of negotiating. The outer world is a perfect and flawless mirror, designed to show you where you are strong and where you are weak, where you are aligned and where you are inauthentic. The ultimate goal is not to accumulate a certain number of trophies in the gym. The goal is to become the master athlete, calm, strong, flexible, wise, and free. Let us return for one final time to the great and patient tree standing in the field. In our previous visits, we saw it as a model for giving value and for anchoring ourselves in the now. But now, let us look deeper, to its ultimate and final purpose. A man of superficial understanding might believe that the sole purpose of an apple tree is to produce apples. He would measure its success only by the quantity and quality of its fruit. For him, a season of few apples is a failed season. A tree that provides shade but little fruit is a useless tree. He sees the output as the entire point of the tree's existence. But the wise person, the mystic, understands the deeper truth. They know that the apples are merely a secondary, though delightful, byproduct of the tree's true work. The tree's primary and most sacred purpose is not to produce fruit, but to fully and magnificently express its own treeness. Its purpose is to sink its roots deep into the silent, nourishing earth, to grow a trunk so strong and sturdy that it can withstand any storm, to reach its branches fearlessly and gracefully towards the light, and to become the most glorious, healthy, and complete version of an apple tree it can possibly be. When it achieves this state of being, when it has mastered the profound and simple art of being a tree, then the production of abundant, sweet, and nourishing apples is not a struggle. It is not a chore. It is an effortless, joyful, and inevitable consequence of its own magnificent state of being. The apples are the evidence of its inner health. They are not the source of it. And so it is with you. Your outer achievements, your wealth, your status, your creations are the apples. But you, your character, your state of consciousness, your very being, you are the tree. This is the final reframe of the billionaire mindset. The journey we have been on is not ultimately about becoming a person who has $1 billion. It is about becoming the kind of person for whom that level of abundance, or any other form of success, is a natural and unsurprising expression of their inner state. It is about becoming the tree. The world will fixate on the fruit. It will count your apples, measure their weight, and judge you by your harvest. But you must be focused on the tree. You must be focused on the depth of your roots, your integrity, your resilience, your connection to the silent ground of your being. You must be focused on the strength of your trunk, your courage, your discipline, your radical honesty. You must be focused on the reach of your branches, your love, your creativity, your capacity to give your unique value to the world. When you focus on these things, when you dedicate your life to becoming the most magnificent human being you can be, the fruit will take care of itself. The apples will come, and they will be abundant. But by then, you will realize they were never the real prize. The real prize was the joy and the strength you discovered in the growing. As you move forward from this day, I invite you to adopt a new set of metrics for success, a new and more soulful balance sheet. At the end of your days, the universe will not ask you, how much money did you accumulate in your bank account? It will ask, how much peace did you cultivate in your heart? It will not ask, how many companies did you build? It will ask, how much wisdom did you build within your character? It will not ask, how many people knew your name? It will ask, how much love did you learn to express to the people around you? Courage, wisdom, peace, and love. These are the true assets. This is the only wealth that cannot be diminished by a market crash, the only treasure that you will carry with you beyond the veil of this life. Let us take a final moment for a sacred contemplation. As we approach the end of our journey together, I invite you to look back, not at the timeline of your achievements, but at the growth of your own tree. Look past the specific wins and losses, the successes and failures of the outer world. See them instead as the storms and the sunlight that have shaped you. In what ways have your greatest challenges forced your roots to grow deeper, anchoring you in a truth you did not know you possessed? In what ways has your pain and your heartbreak strengthened the trunk of your compassion? What wisdom, what patience, what resilience do you hold today that you did not hold 10 years ago? Acknowledge this growth, feel it. This is your real net worth. This is the beginning of your true legacy. Now, look forward to the future. And as you set your goals, set a new kind of intention. Do not only intend for what you want to do or have. Set a clear and powerful intention for who you are choosing to become. What quality of being is it? Unshakable peace? Is it boundless courage? Is it unconditional love? Do you now commit to cultivating as your life's ultimate masterpiece? The world will count your apples, but you, the wise farmer of your own soul, must count the rings of your own growth. For in the end, the fortunes will be spent, the companies will be sold, the houses will crumble, and the accolades will fade into the silence of history. The only thing you will truly own, the only creation that will endure, the only legacy that will echo in eternity, is the magnificent, wise, and loving being you forged yourself into along the way. Focus on becoming the tree, a tree of wisdom, a tree of strength, a tree of love. Do this, and you will find that all the fruit you could ever desire is merely the sweet, fleeting evidence of your true and timeless masterpiece, the person you became. And so, our journey through the inner architecture of creation comes to a gentle close. The words, the concepts, and the metaphors have served their purpose. Like a boat that has carried you across a great ocean, they have brought you to this shore. But now, you must step out of the boat and onto the sacred ground of your own being. Let the words dissolve. Let the ideas fade like mist in the morning sun. All that remains, all that ever truly matters, is the silent, living presence that is you. Deep within you, beneath the ceaseless noise of the thinking mind, and the turbulent waves of emotion, there is a silent room. It has always been there, waiting for you. It is the throne room of your own consciousness. For years, perhaps a lifetime, this room has sat quiet and empty, while you have been living as a frantic servant in the busy kitchens and chaotic courtyards of your own palace, believing that was all you were. The journey we have taken together has not been about building this room, for it was always complete. It has been about finding the long-forgotten key. It has been about remembering that you are not the servant. You are the sovereign. The wealth you sought in the outer world was always just a faint echo of the treasure locked within this silent space. The power you wished to command over your circumstances was always just a pale shadow of the authority waiting for you on this inner throne. The profound peace you hope to find at the end of a long and weary road is the very atmosphere of this room. You were searching everywhere for a reflection of that which you already are, so be still now. Let the external world fall away. Let the memory of the journey dissolve. Feel the gentle pull of this inner sanctuary. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to achieve, nothing you need to prove to be worthy of entering. Your worthiness is the key itself. Step across the threshold, out of the noise and into the stillness. Walk through the silence towards the center of your own being, and with a gentle and final exhale, take your seat. The search is over. The real reign, the life of quiet power and authentic creation, has just begun. The universe is not outside of you. Look within. Everything you want, you already are.